for it. 200 episodes in, and we have two very special guests for you tonight. I'm pretty sure you have no idea who they are. You've probably never seen them before. It's not like they used to do a show on this channel or anything like that. But we brought some classics back. Tefty Teft.
Hello.
Briar Rabbit.
Hey.
Welcome back. What's up?
I like what you've done with the place, man. Looks good.
Right? I got a Triforce for the place.
Great.
Lit it up. I found all three pieces. Turns out my heart was pure, so I got to keep it. Haven't made a wish yet. Actually, I have. The wish was this episode.
So right before we came on the show, I looked it up. And the last time me and Tefty were on Planet Destiny's podcast was episode 89. Yeah. 2 years ago. It's September. It was over 2 years ago, right? It was September.
Yeah, over
2 years ago. Wow.
Other contemporary Planet Destiny videos were the Palindrome Legendary Review.
Oh,
that
the
one?
Palindrome.
And a raid guy for the Siege Engine and Axis.
Oh my God. Wrath of the Machine, man.
It's been a while.
The Death Zamboni was the last
The
thing
Death Zamboni
that was covered there.
The
Holy
Zamboni
crap.
was so good.
Oh my God, I haven't even thought about that raid in so long, and now
Right.
I'm thinking of just Destiny butt rock in the background as John, don't get covered.
New title for this episode.
Butt rock.
Butt rock.
Destiny
Absolutely
Butt
right on.
Rock.
Destiny butt rock with Briar Rabbit and Tefty Teft. But yeah, of course, thank you guys so much for joining us here. We wanted to do something very special for the 200th episode, and kind of freaked out a bit when you guys actually agreed to come on, because I don't think there could be a more perfect way to roll this one in than with the OGs of the Planet Destiny podcast. So we're super happy to have you guys here, and hopefully we don't grate on you too much. We know you already did a show this week complaining about.
I didn't. I skipped it.
Oh
yeah, Briar. Briar ghosted us,
Get away
man.
from it, Briar.
Fuck this swab. That's what I said. And then I'm like, oh no, I got to be on PD on Sunday.
There is no escape.
He tried to get away from it.
No, there's absolutely no escape.
Yo,
from
congratulations on
those
200 episodes. Though. That's a big number. That's a huge achievement. Nice job, guys.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And a lot of that came from you guys too. So
thanks for half of it. Yeah, so there's a round of applause and a back pat for absolutely everybody here for 200 big episodes of this game. Wow, I never would have thought when Destiny originally came out that there would be enough content there to cover this many years.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this game. It's been, 4.5, almost 5 years now, because it was 2014.
5 going on to 6.
Yeah.
5 going on to 6 years.
Yeah, I think September is 5 years, right?
Yep.
Destiny coming out.
It's funny because everybody's talking about the sleeper, not the sleeper, the
Whisper.
the whisper of the worm, right? We've been literally talking about that gun for 4 years, right? It wasn't always called the Whisper. We used to call it the Black Hammer, which was the best name of any gun in Destiny of all time.
Agreed.
100%.
But
Black Hammer, White Knight.
I mean, this conversation has literally been going about this gun for 4 years.
And it's not stopping.
And it's the same conversation.
History repeats itself.
Yeah.
This gun's awesome. It's super powerful. Use it for everything. LFG must have Black Hammer.
Right.
This gun got nerfed. What did they do? They made it no longer infinite. Why? It's the circle of life.
Yeah. I remember back when it was first dropping as a legendary, my raid team would have to run normal mode because I was the only one who didn't have Black Hammer yet.
That's right. You could only get it in normal mode. That's right.
It only dropped in normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Think about that. Yeah.
God, could you think of that? A weapon that strong only dropping in and the rewards for hard were Word of Crota, I want to say.
Yeah, Ward of Crota. I think it was all the primaries, right? Because remember back then, primaries that were that had a flavor to them. That were
the elemental too.
Yeah,
the burn. Yeah.
All the elementals were like sacred.
All right, let's try and name all the primaries that came out of the Crota raid. There's the Word of Crota. What was
Fang of
Uriut?
Fang. That was the good one, right? Well, no, the pulse rifle was real good too, wasn't it?
Oh my God! I should know this.
It's something about the overshield or the over.
Oversoul Edict.
Oversoul Edict. That's what it is.
Man, look at this dude. Hasn't dropped a step. Still remembers the name of weapons that nobody used.
Oversoul Edict.
Yo, Oversoul was good, man.
Yeah,
It was really good, dude.
Yeah.
It was auto fire, and it was that like high rate of fire.
Yeah.
It was actually a really good gun.
It was the gun that was hinting towards that pulse rifle meta. It was hinting towards it. You know?
Yeah,
right.
like way later.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the auto rifle was like the Abyss something, and it
Abyss
confused the Abyss and it confused wizards. And I remember that being so useful because of Omnigul. You could just go in there, and any of the wizards that would hunt you around pop their shield, and suddenly they're blinded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure I was one that reviewed Abyss Defiant on PD. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think so actually. And that was like a high impact, I want to say, auto rifle, slower firing one, solar.
Yeah.
My
Holy
first video
crap.
for PD was reviewing the shotgun, which I can't remember. Swordbreaker?
Swordbreaker. Yeah.
Swordbreaker.
Yeah, okay.
You
so
got it.
Swordbreaker. What were the other Crota Zen weapons we had?
Light of the
Crota,
Abyss.
Song of
Light
Your
of the
Yid.
Abyss, Song of Your Youth. Was that it?
I think that was it.
Oh,
the mini Galahorn.
Yeah, the
Hunger
Hunger
Crota.
was
Hunger.
cluster
Yeah,
bombs
that's right.
tracking rocket, right?
I used
Yeah.
that a ton, actually. The Hunger.
Did it
Dude,
track?
I used did it? I don't think it tracked.
I don't think it
was
tracked.
just cluster.
It had the
Yeah.
clusters.
Yeah. I used that up until I didn't get Galahorn until the summer. So I was relegated to using Hunger for
Right. The Hezen Vengeance and the Hunger of Crota. The poor man's Galahorn.
Yeah, it was my poor man's Galahorn. So just bring a Galahorn. I'm like, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Tefty, because I didn't get mine until like May or June.
Okay.
So like I got it just in time for the requirements for Skolas, the hardest encounter in the game.
Oh my god, yeah.
Ooh, Solar Weeks.
Yeah, I didn't get it until I think it was like June or July, and I was streaming on Planet Destiny at the time, and I finally got it on my PS4, and I was like, oh my god, it dropped. It dropped from the Death Singers from Crota. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Or
you
Death
got some
Singer,
resistance. Right on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did track. Yeah, Hunger Crota did track.
I know my rockets,
It did
Wow,
track.
it
Yep,
had
you're
cluster
right.
and tracking.
and
Yeah.
I know them because they don't do that in D2, and it makes me sad. Rockets. in
Well, there's
D2
a couple
make me
now.
sad.
Well,
Right?
heck, they
Yeah.
don't. They can't hold more than one in D2. So there's a couple things that.
Yeah.
Remember when
Oh
you
my
could
God.
hit 3?
Dude, I logged
God.
into Destiny 1 the other day, and like I whipped out the Ash whatever, the green one, and like had tripod. I had 3 rockets. I didn't know what to do with them. I was like, I can fire one and then fire another.
You guys remember
What is-
Clown Cartridge on that?
Oh my god.
Round.
Right?
Rockets. That was oh
Yeah.
my god. I remember that dropped on like the Iron Banner rocket launcher, and you could get like some crazy rolls with that.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Oh, D1, man.
Times, dude.
good
I don't want
times.
to go play D1.
You should. You should.
It's
and then you'll
refreshing.
cry.
It's weird. The
Yeah.
tower is always full because there's the pool is just
Mhm.
small enough that you'll be paired with everybody. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's still pretty active.
I feel like the tower was better in D1.
I
Than
like it in
D2.
D1 better as well.
Yeah.
me
It was
too.
more efficient.
Yeah, it was more efficient. It was better laid
That's
out.
true.
Like,
It had more verticality.
mm-hmm.
It felt like.
Yeah, I think it was just better. Just straight up. It was a better design. In D2, every time I spawn in, I'm kind of like, yeah, where's things?
Mhm.
It's all
Yeah,
and
spread
hidden
out.
ghosts.
5 minutes
Remember they
to
were
run
hitting
to it.
ghosts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in like the tree and then
Yeah.
all over the place. I miss that kind of little collectible stuff.
That area that opened up for Iron Banner in the back had a hidden ghost in it, but you could only get there if like there was an event.
Yeah. The big worthless
Or
area.
the first
That was cool.
Queen's
Queen's
what was it?
Wrath
Queen's
came
Wrath.
around.
The first
Yeah.
Queen's Wrath.
The only Queen's Wrath.
The
The
only
first and only, right?
Right.
I-
The one that went back into the oven and never came back out. Some say it's still baking to this day.
It's amazing
remember
that was
people-
literally one weekend.
Yeah.
1 weekend.
Yeah.
That was our
And one of
first
the
time-
best sniper rifles that ever came out in
Ever
Destiny
came
1
out.
Yep.
was earnable in that event. And if you missed
Yeah.
it, you just missed it, man. It
Yeah.
was done.
Yeah. Like, because it wasn't a full set of anything that dropped. It was like the sniper rifle, the helmet, and like the chest piece, I want to say.
Yeah.
'Cause it was definitely
Was
not
there
a
I think there was an auto rifle too. Was there an auto rifle?
There might have been an auto rifle too. But like, yeah, that was like an event for a weekend, and then we just never saw it again. Like, we just, a year or so later, we see Petra at the reef. Hey, whatever happened to the Queen's Wrath? I don't know. Don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we're talking about the memories tonight.
Destiny 1.
Yeah, I always wanted them to explore or expand the tower too, beyond like, they opened up things from time to time, but I always wanted to actually see it expand and not get just destroyed in D2 and then expand, but like actually open up that door and find some other stuff.
One?
The giant vault across from the speaker, right? That giant.
Yeah, where Zer would hang out from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where 0 hour starts, basically.
Where 0 hour starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knew that the big secret would be us going back through the door to places we've already been, rather than what's
collecting weapons we've already had before.
Has anybody checked to see if there's any
nerfs
ramen
that they already had before?
Was it ramen?
No, I haven't seen any ramen.
I haven't seen ramen, but I found a deflated purple ball.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Sadness.
That makes me sad.
Super sad.
Yeah, that one kind of hurts. That's like twisting the knife.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the sound I hear when I see that little purple ball just flattened there. I see what you're doing here, Bungie. But yeah, nostalgia is, of course, a huge part of this franchise. It still blows my mind that it's been out half a decade now that we've been in some way, shape, or form, all of us covering this game. But there's a lot of memories there, man. Like, there's a lot of nostalgia there for Destiny 1. And I think for good reason. Everybody here, I think, has had some pretty darn good times playing through D1 and I would say even here in D2, certainly since Forsaken has taken hold. And now, we're really kind of on the cusp of a brand new season of content getting ready to drop. Maybe put in a different light now due to recent revelations, shall we say. But
Discoveries.
Secret.
New Bungie.
New Bungie. Who dis? Turns out it's the old Bungie. Who dat? Things we're learning about now are sounding kind of similar to the bits of news we were getting in the summer of 2015, right before Taken King came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's got me a little scared. I ain't even gonna lie, man. It's got me a little worried. I don't like nerfs.
Yeah. It's bittersweet for sure. I mean, on one end, they do have to do some changes so you're not always sitting in the back with Whisper. But on the other hand, I don't like fun being taken away. And it seems like a lot of the stuff, they're like, hey, that's fun. Maybe you shouldn't have too much fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get out of here.
I mean,
go find some other things.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm still saying is, even if they nerf my skull, which is what I run primarily on my Warlock for obvious reasons, it's not going to motivate me to put on Wings of Sacred Dawn or Eye of Another World. Like I'm still going to run my skull, even though if it gives me back, but like it still doesn't incentivize me to use anything else.
You will never.
Like who's going to roll with 3 Aeon Souls?
The Aeon code,
or Aeon, whatever it's called. Like nobody's going to equip those.
You will never get me to use that by taking away my skull of Dire Ankara. That's never going to happen.
The Aeons were good in year 1 trials. Apparently, people used to run them as ways to build your abilities quickly. So they had a place in time, which is not absent of many of the weapons or armor that we use. They had their place in time. Those, I didn't even know what they were called when I was like, "What?" I'd never heard of it when they dropped to me. So they weren't impactful to my experience within the game. It's weird with like the weapons are one thing. The armor, it's really strange because there's nothing that's next up to take the place of these pieces. Right? But you don't make something that's bad good by making something that's good bad. Yeah. In other words. And I think that's the biggest problem is that there's 100 and something exotics and only 15 of them are really impactful within the game itself.
Yeah.
And what was it? One of the key things on why they're nerfing this is because we're not using our team members' orbs of light.
Yeah.
I didn't read that.
We're not working together as a team.
Yeah. So
as we should.
Weapon, yeah, so they state before they start going over the weapons that a lot of those weapons were kind of like overcoming some of the challenges that they were planning ahead, and more. It's clear as day that some of the raid encounters are probably going to be DPS heavy. So I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why Whisper is getting the treatment that it is. But yeah, like when they start talking about the exotics that give you back supers, it's because people aren't relying on the teammate mechanic of picking up their orbs to get their super energy back. And it's like, I mean,
is there stats behind that? Because there's in some situations you can't help but pick up the orb because you're all together on a well, right?
Even
so
if you're master weapons too are going to give you orbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like those exotics. I feel like those exotics make you work together as a team even more so because I've got Orpheus rigs. Let me shoot all these guys real quick and make sure you're in my well to make sure you're in the piss of my warlock. Because I got to bring some warlock hate onto this podcast. All right, and just
that's fine. I'm fully compliant with all this warlock hate.
Okay, great. So you got to stand in the puddle of urine from warlock.
Unbelievable.
Get the super back, right? I feel like that's promoting teamwork right there.
It absolutely is, and I would say there's a lot of coordination there where people are like, okay. Like I think of I always equate this kind of stuff to encounters and raids, and so I think of the the Shirochi encounter in The Last Wish, where you're like, okay, Orpheus Rig Hunter, you're up first. Tether all that stuff so we don't die immediately. Boom. Yeah. Now you've got your super. Maybe a warlock moves in, takes out the knights and the captain, and stuff like that. And when they talk about, I can understand the challenge there of creating challenging content without building that content around specific exotics. And there's no question that certainly happened. They've had to build these encounters around the existence of Whisper of the Worm. They've had to build it around stuff like Orpheus Rigs or the Phoenix Protocol. But I don't necessarily think that the first option there was just to destroy those things without changing those encounters. Because now I'm thinking of The Reckoning, Bridge of Folly. What in the world am I supposed to do if I don't have a Phoenix Protocol well now?
Hit your
super
back. What you're gonna do.
I ain't doing tier 3. I'm done with tier 3 well forever now.
And it specifically says like rare chance of getting your full super back. Like RNG? Rare? Like now it's
like it.
That's what I'm
not likely.
Is it RNG or do you just have to like absolutely maximize how many enemies you tether or kill with your Nova Bomb?
Well,
yeah. I mean, even as it stands, though, like you get more super, for example, with like the skull, depending if you kill like a yellow bar enemies and majors and ultras, yeah.
The shards of Galanor, it's almost an RNG. It's been an RNG as to how much of your super you actually generate back, because you'll kill an entire map and get nothing, or you'll kill nothing and get the whole thing back. So there's
and my issue with that is that they mentioned specifically shards and Ursas when they were already previously hit. And you already don't get nearly anywhere as much super as you used to beforehand. But apparently, Shards of Galanor and Ursa Furiosas are going to get their super gain capped, reduced even more to be on par with the other stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, about a year ago, we were talking about the Go Fast update, right? And that's where, we started talking about, or Bungie started talking about, we're going to give you more supers, we're going to give you more abilities, everything's just going to be amped up. The guys behind that, are they still at Bungie?
No.
Behind the Go Fast update?
Yeah. Did they leave?
Because, are we, are the people behind, who listened to the community and made the change that, made the several changes that kind of set Destiny 2 in motion with the Go Fast update and then into, into year 2, there might be new people in control now. So we don't really know what to expect.
I've been saying that there's these two sides of Bungie, this left side and right side, not political by any means, but just
the left cheek and the right cheek.
The left cheek and the right cheek, and they're always at war with each other for some reason. There's no common ground. I feel like some of these nerfs are if you give me this, then we can give you that type of thing. And we've had one side winning of making us feel powerful and giving us some sort of power creep, and then another side is all right, time to knock it back down into balance. We need some balance here.
You got the guys who design the weapons and they want to design awesome weapons, and then you got the guys who design the encounters and they're like, whoa, back it off.
Don't be speedrunning my encounter now. Come on.
I'd imagine that dichotomy has to exist. It has to exist in the development world because there are different teams at Bungie. There's a sandbox team. There's a team that designs encounters. There's a team that works on other things like items.
And there's 800 people, right?
Yeah, 800 people working at that company. So there has to be some different philosophies there. And I think ultimately the balancing falls to the sandbox team. And so it very well may have been a decision that was just made by them versus, like Briar said, somebody's like, all right, so I made this rocket launcher that when you fire it, shoots up into the sky like a javelin and then rains down about 50 missiles that all deal, I don't know, about a whisper shot's worth of damage. And then you got Sandbox like,
how do we balance around that?
Hold up.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Ultimately, are you guys going to be pissed off that they nerfed everything if we go into the next season and it's like all the encounters are awesome and fun? Like, are you going to still be mad about it?
As long as whatever they're introducing in Season of Opulence is worth it, and it's not a matter of like, they're nerfing this just so this specific encounter can't be cheesed. I'm fine with it. Like, just introduce stuff that's worth using.
Because when I saw Whisper of the Worm was getting nerfed, I'm like, well, that's no big surprise, right? It got nerfed in Destiny 1. And to be honest with you, I, for one, have been standing in the back of the map shooting people in the head with Whisper of the Worm for 4 fucking years, and I don't really want to do it anymore. I'm ready to use a different gun. And if the optimal way of beating a raid is not using Whisper of the Worm anymore, sign me up. I'm happy about it.
But here's the problem, though. Is that, are they still going to design encounters that still lend themselves to sit in the back in one spot in a pool of Warlock Urine to get enhanced damage while you're DPSing? Like,
now you're going to be using Darcy instead of Whisper?
Darcy,
I feel like the encounter design needs to get a shakeup instead of just always being one crit spot that needs to get DPS for a few seconds or whatever.
So imagine that. Imagine that setup, and they take away like that, stomp damage thing that bosses always do. So you could sit in the back. You could sit in the back of the map shooting them with sniper rifles. But if you take that risk and move up, you have a much more higher chance of doing a ton of damage with closer range weapons. Like that could be an interesting mechanic, but you can never get there if Whisper of the Worm is the highest DPS weapon in the game.
Yeah.
Because everybody, like, you'll never take that risk. You'll never venture out.
Right.
Because the safest play is also the best play. Whereas the safest play and the best play, the most optimal play, could be two different things if Whisper of the Worm isn't the best weapon in the game.
Has anybody used Outbreak on just about anything lately, like raid bosses?
Yeah. It's absolutely nuts.
It's a little silly.
And this is without the masterwork that increases the damage on the net.
No kidding. We took down Callus today like that. Like a plate and a half. And
it's gnarly.
It was stupid the entire time.
Yeah.
We're all laughing like, all this power. And it was, I don't see how that couldn't get a nerf somewhere down the line.
Absolutely. It's coming. It's coming.
Let me ask you this. Like, every raid encounter really feels like do something, get the damage phase, do damage. And that entire recipe itself is kind of starting to get a little bit boring to me. The one raid encounter that didn't feel like that, to me, out of all of them, was Oryx. If we had Whisper the Worm at Oryx, it didn't really matter.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So is it an encounter design flaw? Or is it a weapon issue?
I think that's certainly a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I think they're combined though, right? Because if the safest play is also the highest DPS play, like, it's hard to design an encounter where players aren't going to find a way to, like, use the geometry to hide behind a pillar and just use Whisper. But if the Whisper all of a sudden isn't the highest DPS play, if running up there and using Legend of Acreus is the highest DPS play, then you have a decision to make. Do we choose survivability, or do we choose trying to burn down the boss as fast as possible? I think that's a far more interesting game.
And I think one of the harder things to balance out as well is when you're creating a, like, damage phase encounter on a raid, if it's you want to rely heavily on mechanics, or if you want to rely on player DPS. Because I mean, Oryx was essentially basically almost purely mechanical, which can lead to like 20-minute long runs. If one person messes up, you're done with. You got to start that all over again. And I'm sure that's something that they have to take in mind to, like, create all these stuff, all these weapons around.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, because Oryx is the perfect example there. And, well, actually, to bridge off of Briar's point there, what is the ogre in Last Wish, Morgoth?
Yeah.
Morgoth.
That was a perfect example of what Briar was saying there. You can sit back and whisper him, or you can get right up in his butt cheeks and Legend of Acreus him, which turns out to be way better.
Prospector is
or
good.
Just about anything. You can
shove a grenade launcher right up his booty.
I think I saw Rat King kill it at this point.
Well,
it's great.
But that also brings the point that even though Whisper's getting nerfed, there is still a lot of better options for DPS than Whisper.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Riven, as soon as somebody shot cluster rockets in her mouth, it was like, oh, okay, we can
just do that.
We can just smoke this boss immediately instead of using Whisper. And I guess that adds to the issue of like, all right, is it really the weapon problem or is it the encounters and what they're designing problem?
Yeah.
You know?
Is it just that we've become used to it? Like,
we've had it for 4 years, 5 years, I'd say.
Yeah. And like that there's just not enough shake up in the encounters to tune our well-educated raid minds.
Is that what we call it?
I think every encounter, honestly, Oryx is probably one of the only encounters that averages out around the same time when it comes to doing damage because it's a set thing. But like when you look at things like Wrath of the Machine, it also kind of averages out because not only is the boss kind of hopping and skipping around the entire area, people are using things like Dark Drinker, or I remember the Warpath was something that people were using the rocket launcher for a good while. But when you look at things like Callus and Argos, not so much Valkaor, but Riven, those are all purely like DPS, you know.
Well, Riven's not supposed to be. She's not supposed to be,
but
she's vulnerable for 20 seconds. So people take advantage of that.
It wasn't lost on me either. Read this TWAB. So we are reading the TWAB, and the weapons that are nerfed here, aside from Ace of Spades, are all Destiny 1 weapons.
Yeah.
Yep.
So seeing them get pulled back out of the meta a little bit does not upset me at all.
Yeah.
Because I've been using these weapons. I think Sleeper the newest of these weapons? That came out, I think, in 2015.
Sleeper was one of the first, I want to say, with Warmind.
Oh no, I think he means originally. Yeah, Sleeper came out with Taken King, I do want to believe. Although Ace of Spades did too, right? That was the gunsmith exotic for hunters, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was in D1, but
they're all D1 weapons.
It was
but it's not really the same gun. Like Whisper is definitely the same gun. Sleeper is pretty much the same gun. Lord of Wolves is definitely the same gun. Ace of Spades, you're right, it was in Destiny 1, but it's not.
The model. The model was in Destiny 1.
It was a Hunter exclusive, and it definitely didn't play the same. This Ace of Spades is clearly better and different.
A gun that gives itself 13 buffs. It's great.
But it's not lost. It's not lost on me that all these weapons are from Destiny 1, and they're still, very top of the meta. And I want to be using new stuff. I want to be using, I'm hoping that there's new exotics coming with this season. I'm hoping that there's new awesome weapons coming from this raid, and I'm hoping that they're really useful. And that's what I'm gonna want to strive to get the new stuff. Because it's going to be awesome. And it sucks that we had to pull back on the old stuff, but this is really old stuff.
Yeah.
Really old stuff.
Isn't it weird though, like the Sleeper nerf with the Ricochet? Because I really didn't think that was too much of an issue. Like possibly maybe
the game where you do it.
The 0.1% of like top raiders probably got advantage out of that solely on Argos.
But Nim, maybe the new final boss in the new raid is standing in like a cubicle. So you can just shoot the walls of the cubicle and kill it in one shot. Maybe that's it.
That's honestly how I felt about most of these nerfs. Is it seems targeted towards like the 1% or 0.1% speedrunners that are doing crazy things, and it's like, well, that's not the majority of the population doing this stuff.
Yeah, like me personally, I haven't used Whisper in like the last month and a half. I haven't used it.
That's what I was about to say. I used it today.
Drifter. Yeah.
But I didn't use
What activities do you really guys use Whisper on?
I mean, anything where there's a crit spot that I can just constantly shoot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of Dolan Karu in the Shattered Throne.
Vorgith.
Again, Morgoth is...
No, not Morgoth. Vorgith.
Vorgith.
Yeah.
Vorgith is the ogre, yeah.
2. Both Shattered Throne encounters, by the way.
Spider Tank and Forge.
Easily.
Yeah, that's the only thing I use Whisper for now. Just the Spider Tank and Forge.
And maybe Insurrection Prime, but I feel like even Darcy is still better for that.
Yeah. Because it
I have
fires
to run
faster.
Scourge of the Past to do anything there, and that read is not on my radar.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I just feel like in this late of like where we are in Destiny, there's not a whole lot of encounters that
Well, we had the full auto shoddy, burn it down, that got pulled back, which is a newer version of weapons. We had full auto shotguns in Destiny 1, but we didn't have anything like the Ikelos or the threat level.
calling it now, we're gonna see an exotic version of Ikelo shotgun at some point in time.
100%.
Well, it was an exotic when it shipped. It just wasn't actually an exotic, you know?
Wait,
Just like Black Hammer.
what if year 1 of year 2 weapons get vaulted like year 1 of Destiny 1, and they bring back Ikelos as an exotic?
Oh, no.
Destiny 3 year 8, here we come.
We're just caught in a time loop. This is Groundhog Day.
We are, man.
It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Well,
Year 3, we're making all of your loot not useful. Time to regrind again.
I'd be fine leaving some stuff behind, honestly. I'd be okay with it. The responsibility of the weapons team is just, and we talk about this often on the podcast, like I'm not envious of their job at all to create new perks that are useful, to create new weapons that fit well. Like it's got to be incredibly difficult to do 5 years into a video game, right? There's just not that much originality left to be created. So we're getting perks like is it called Swashbuckler or something like that?
Yeah. And 1-2 punch.
1-2.
Yeah.
Words I can't pronounce that are perks, and it's like, that's where we're at, man.
I think it comes down to the sandbox, though. Like I feel like they really underutilize things that are in the game, like with the elements. I've said this for a while, and it's definitely not a Destiny 2 thing. This is something that's going to be a Destiny 3 if they ever do go down this path. But Arc, Solar, Void, I feel like those should have inherent properties to them that are not just colored bullets. You know, like it doesn't make any sense for me that if I shoot an arc gun and it's not actually applying electricity, like from an RPG fantasy type of thing, doesn't make sense.
You're just bringing down a colored
shield. It's just a colored shield.
You see that like Sunshot and Graviton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they have something that actually feels like it's
Risk Runner.
Risk Runner, yep.
So there's like a handful of exotics that exemplify what those elements should be in the universe, but they're not in the sandbox. And I think that's what really limits them for creativity for some of these guns and perks, that everything is essentially a DPS chase.
Yep.
When you boil it down, if it's not actually breaking a shield, it's a DPS chase, and they need to widen that so there's a lot more variety in there to where this is my opinion, and I know a lot of people can disagree with this. I feel like kinetic should always be hit scan. I feel like all the elemental stuff shouldn't be hit scan. There should be like actual element travel time, time travel that affects the way the bullets feel. And again, PvP, that'd be an absolute mess. They needed a separate sandbox for PvP. Yeah. But when it comes to the PvE side and for the RPG aspect, I really feel like they need to expand that stuff so there's a lot more room for horizontal progression in these guns. So it's not just you got the best DPS version, that's it.
Yeah. You know, Tefty, though, if you went down that path in PvP, people just wouldn't use the stuff that wasn't hit scan because it's not going to be as good. So you can go crazy with the elemental stuff for PvE.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go the sandbox on its own.
It blows my mind that I shoot an enemy with a solar weapon and they don't light on fire.
Yep.
I'm
100% on board with that.
They should light on fire, just straight up.
I love
rocket launcher.
Little kids love lighting stuff on fire. Like it's just baked in.
It is inherent to my video game desires to light things on fire with a weapon.
Is everything okay there, Briar?
Briar just play with matches when they were kids. It's great.
But I'm right there with you. I think
Briar has history with Molotov cocktails, guys. So watch out. All right.
Don't we all?
All in good fun. There was no destruction of personal property.
Just a part of growing up. But no, I mean you're perfectly right, and I think a good example of that is actually the Division, because in Division 1 and in Division 2 you can get elemental bullets, you can get incendiaries, you can get shock bullets and stuff like that. I would love to see that incorporated in Destiny. And I think you're right. Outside of that kind of elemental thing, the elements in Destiny are just for popping shields. It's not like elemental weapons deal any more damage than kinetic.
And even that is new, right? Like that mechanic is new.
That's a D2 thing, yeah.
Oh, you missed that. You miss it in Vault of Glass. Let me tell you. Whew.
Interesting, yeah.
But taking something like the Risk Runner or what was it? What was the auto rifle in D1? The Jalo. The Jalo had the same ability as basically Risk Runner. Putting that on arc weapons would be amazing. I would love running around with like an arc scout rifle that chained lightning to enemies.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like a set thing. It could be a stat where how much percentage it has. It's a lot like Borderlands. Borderlands does that. And I'm not saying Borderlands needs to be copied and vice versa and all that. I'm saying that they need to take what they have, the interesting things, and expand that sandbox so they have a lot more room to make more horizontal progression with these guns.
Absolutely. I think it's perfectly fine to bring up Borderlands as an example because Borderlands 3 is getting ready to drop, and that's the big daddy of the looter shooter genre. Jumping back into juggernaut. It's going to be a monster, and it'll be interesting to see how that's going to affect a lot of the other games that have since come into the looter shooter genre, stuff like Division, Destiny, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's perfectly fine to take examples from Borderlands. They got a lot right 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Still as a fan of Chaos too, I love that it's coming out in September.
Oh. My man Briar is a fan.
Let's watch this happen.
Brad's just gonna sit down there with his coffee beer, just watching everything go down.
Pull up a lawn chair to this trash fire.
Hey, competition breeds growth, and there's no greater competition for Bungie than that dropping in September, their month. Cannot wait.
It really is. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things they could do, and I would love it if Bungie would move more towards an RPG style push for their game in the future.
Yeah.
We've still got a lot of stuff to learn about. We have no idea what's coming in Destiny 3 or if there's got to be a Destiny 3 or whatever that's going to be about. And I think some of those ideas could really work in the franchise. Absolutely.
Yeah. The universe is set up for it, the way they have the lore. I mean, it would just make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lean into the space magic.
Please.
Set stuff on fire with my guns. Come on.
Speaking of, this entire conversation branched off of the patch notes. One thing I thought was particularly hilarious is this is all nerfs. There's not a single real buff included in there. I mean, you could argue the Lord of Wolves change for ammo's buff. That's like PR 101. If you're going to give bad news, you give good news with the bad news.
Isn't this kind of their MO, though? Like, I feel like this is Bungie's MO, is they like to drop the bad news in a TWAB, everybody gets pissed off, and then the week later or 2 weeks later, they drop the good news.
Yeah,
right? Work our tantrum out.
This is a repeatable pattern on Bungie's part.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then you also have Game of Thrones ending this week. So it's like, so you might as well just let everybody down at the same time.
Get it all out of your system.
and then
Can't wait.
Next week be like, hey guys, guess what? We're better than Game of Thrones. Watch this. And then like all of a sudden just smoke emanates out of the TWAB and ninjas appear. It's gonna be great. Hopefully.
Ninjas.
So my hope is that they are saving all this for next week, getting all this out of the way so that the grumbles happen and Reddit gets lit on fire. And then next week they're like, but we're adding this stuff. There's a big possibility though that they might not share any buffs.
That is true. It could happen in the patch notes when the patch actually comes out, or it could be that they're relying on new weapons to kind of replace old in the summer's meta.
I just hope it doesn't take like 2 months to get whatever new weapon that's going to be exciting.
Well, here's the thing. Whatever is coming this upcoming week is definitely going to be something great because we are officially 2 weeks away from Opulence. So we're going to start seeing some of like their teaser trailers and they're going to start talking about it a little bit more because it's dropping real soon.
Running out of time on the clock.
The joke, Season of Poverty.
Season of Poverty. I saw that.
The season of poverty is upon us. All of your treasures are nerfed.
Turns out Callus's EBT card went dry, so it's now the season of poverty. He's no more handing out stuff to Guardians. Sorry, everybody.
You go into Leviathan, and underneath there's just a pawn shop instead of all those switches.
Yeah, that wasn't Leviathan looks so sad.
Couldn't pay for the lights. That's why it's so dark in there. The power company shut him off. All that grape wine he had built up, that's run dry.
And it turns out we're the repo men. We're coming to claim everything, man.
We're there to take his space.
What a shocking twist!
What a twist!
Got to pay your bills if you want to own a space
into his
fish.
driveway at 1 a.m.
Oh my
Stealing
god.
that Camaro.
Great.
Famous, Gallus.
We're gonna see that's what this whole outbreak perfected mission is for. We're gonna get that ship. We're gonna back it up to the Leviathan. We're gonna hook it onto the trailer on the front.
That's right.
We're gonna repo it. I love it.
It'll be in a junkyard right out behind Earth. There you go. Pick it up $500. Oh Lord.
I mean,
Sell
I'm
it at
excited about the new
CarMax for
season.
half its price.
Carvana. Shows
What's
up
half the
truck
price
drops
of a
off outside
Leviathan,
my house.
Briar? I've been looking for a new whip. What's half the price of a Leviathan? I might need
I
this.
don't know. I think I'd look good in a Leviathan.
Oh man.
What
But
are the payments like
though,
on a Leviathan?
legit, I am very excited about Season of Opulence. Like a new raid, obviously. Anytime Bungie does a raid, it's always exciting. And I really, really hope that there's a full suite of weapons that are associated with the raid.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest things. I think that's one of the reasons why year one of D2 was so lackluster. Was all those raid layers had like 2 weapons, and I was like, "What?"
It was all weapons shared from the original Leviathan. Loop.
Yeah.
Cool. It was what was missing from that, and it's such a bummer.
That was so
same
impressive.
armor set
I was like,
between the two of them.
one of my main reasons to play Destiny is to see exciting loot drop, especially from raids. So I hope there's a full suite of weapons. I'm assuming there's going to be an exotic. Right. We can all safely assume that.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have 2 redacted things that we know absolutely nothing about. You know, and obviously it's not the raid or the 6-man match meet activity, so they definitely got a few surprises up their sleeves still.
And I mean, that's the kicker there, though. You want a full set of gear to go after, because ultimately, that's the big pull for raids. Yeah, we all love the wonderful raid experiences that we get with Bungie, because they've gotten really good at this. You know, we've come a long way from Vault of Glass, which is an incredible experience, to the kind of cinematic experience we had in the Taken King with the King's Fall raid, and then jumping into Last Wish the first time. I can still remember the world first runs of everybody's eyes just opening up as they finally get to see what a Wish Dragon looks like. But the big draw for Bungie raids has always been the loot. It's always been the tale of the Fatebringer, the Hezen Vengeance, the Vex Mythoclast. Have you heard of this weird fusion rifle? Apparently drops in the raid. It's 4-shotting people in PvP for 2 weeks. It's always been about that.
And the people that you're pissed off at who got it first try with that got carried. Scumbags, right?
Scumbags. A lot of them.
Yeah. Popebear.
Popebear. Popebear and them.
Vile.
Scumbags.
You know, scumbags.
Those guys.
Like, oh, let's take you through Last Wish. Oh, well, 1,000 voices. First try. What?
That's fine.
You delete that right now.
Still haven't gotten it, by the way. It still hurts.
Ooh.
I still haven't
I gotta
gotten
tell you,
it.
it's super fun to use, man. Like it's every time I fire it.
I'm glad I can live vicariously.
As someone who likes to light things on fire, I approve.
You should definitely go get one of those. It's really fun.
Yeah, I recommend getting the drop.
Mistake.
All right.
Yeah.
This episode was a mistake. But like that's it.
What attempt are you on for Last Wish? Have you been keeping track, or is it too depressing?
20s.
Like 12.
It was
12, 13.
4 weeks ago, it was 21. So
okay, I got mine around 20. Attempt number 20.
I got mine around 3.
Get out right now.
Dropped.
Took me 35. Yeah,
you went for a while. You went for a while trying to get it.
And I think I'm at like 20 something for Anarchy.
But why? Why do you want Anarchy?
Collection. Literally just to make that little badge golden. That's literally it.
Let's say you like geometry and you want to make some geometry when you're fighting enemies. You know?
Geometry.
Anarchy.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I could
Put
see you
triangle in
invading
that
and doing
boss
some
fight.
kooky stuff with it. I could see you doing that. You would invade and make like an outline around them, and they would have no idea, and they'd just walk into it and wipe an entire team. Like I would absolutely paint you to do that.
Oh my god! I can put it on their bank.
Yes.
Oh
my
that's
God.
Scum. That's disgusting.
You would use it. You'd be the one crazy man out there who would actually use that weapon and do fun things with it. I guarantee you.
Twitter
Oh my God.
montages
See-
with them.
That'd be great.
And the best part is they'd be killed by it and be like, "What's Anarchy?"
It's the first time I've seen that gun.
Yeah, I legit forgot that gun was in the game. Like, I forgot it was a thing because
Yeah.
It turns out next week they're nerfing it.
You can only shoot one of the projectiles.
How do you make
You
a
know
shape?
what's been interesting
one?
is the Division.
That's the point. You can't.
The Division 2 launched their raid this week, and it's been fun watching like Destiny players like go over, play the Division raid, and kind of contrast and compare their experiences. And now like Destiny 2 has like a new raid that's about to drop, and everybody's getting real excited about it. Everybody's starting to like, I better get my power level up. I better get ready for the the grind. It's been an interesting experience, like seeing another company take a crack at a looter shooter raid.
Yeah.
Which console players couldn't complete.
Couldn't complete.
Is it still?
It has been
as of
completed.
now.
It has been completed
it took
on
like
Xbox.
30 something hours, but they got it.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So people
And they were.
like.
Go ahead. I was gonna. What are you doing here, Dan? We dancing?
Discord delay.
Say something.
No, but like,
Your words.
it was like there's teams on both Xbox and PS4 who have beaten it. I think it's only like 17 or 18 teams total. And like with PC, they beat it in 5 hours and they started speedrunning it in 20 minutes. So like that was according to a Kotaku article that came out earlier today. And then
That's wild.
So who knows once the strats are down.
So apparently
saying that mechanics on console were causing the problems. Like it was physically like an aim thing that was causing people to slow down and not be able to. I don't know. I didn't see anybody on console doing the raid. I'm just curious if that was actually true.
That's why I heard
the game
too.
is harder with a controller than it is with a mouse.
Well, movement's
in
awful
order
on a
because
controller.
it's so DPS focused.
Yeah.
Mouse and keyboard, you could compensate for some of that DPS problem because of how fast you can aim. Whereas on a console, like adjusting for those is very difficult because of the finite aim with a thumb. So they're just naturally at a disadvantage because not having the DPS builds.
It's the peasant's plight.
Yeah. Peasants, man. Let's be honest.
Gotta get the frame, baby. You gotta get the speed. I haven't played the Division raid yet. I watched it, and you're absolutely right. It's interesting looking at the dichotomy between that and like a Bungie raid because they kind of did a lot of Bungie things with their raid, even down to the whole no matchmaking thing, which as I recall is like a first for the Division. They've got matchmaking.
Yeah, players are not happy about that because the Division 2 they had promised that all activities would be match made.
Yeah.
And like the pseudo raid activities in the first game, I think they were incursions?
Incursions, yeah.
Those had matchmaking. And,
listen, anybody complaining about matchmaking not being there has never run Tier 3 Reckoning with blueberries who have no way to stay alive on a bridge on solar.
Oof.
Or 3 hunters.
That's about to be everybody after Season of Opulence comes out, bro.
Yeah, once they nerf your exotics, man.
Or the corrupted strike where they're just tossing the orbs over and over again without chucking it at a partner to charge.
We're making blood heroic.
That's exactly what they're doing. And in fact, some people just go ahead and grab the orb and run around the map for like a solid 5 to 10 minutes, just giggling away.
It was funny.
Progression blocked. Yeah, because the timer on the orb is like what, 5 minutes?
It disappeared in that last room. I think there's like a hard wall there.
Also, that's the way you're supposed to complete that strike. That's the optimal strat for completing the corrupted. Just never do the orb. Hold on.
We were at the end. We were at the boss. She had maybe like a bee's dick of health left, and Dan just has the orb, just literally running laps around Sadia, and I'm like, "Damn it, Dan!" As he's galing away.
What, me worry?
Yeah,
that was a Mad Magazine joke for all you kids out there. Anyways,
I remember Alfred E. Newman.
So yeah, new raid. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's probably going to be pretty cool. It's called Crown of Sorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is appropriate with all of the nerfs.
And a season of poverty.
We're the ones who wear it. That'll be the helmet we get. Just tears.
So, obviously this is framed as being a Cabal themed kind of expansion, dealing with Callus in some way. Do you guys think it's going to be a Cabal themed raid, or are we getting jebaited for Hive?
It sounds very Hy-Vee, doesn't it?
It
really
sound
does.
Hy-Vee.
Yeah.
Right out of the
And
lore,
we had
honestly.
a fallen one. We had a Taken / I guess, what would you consider Last Wish?
Taken.
Yeah.
Taken, yeah.
It's kind of its own thing in a way, but yeah, I guess predominantly
Didn't they
Taken.
reference a while ago that Valko Or was like the last thing that the last thing that we were going to play in Leviathan? Or am I wrong? I could have sworn that was said somewhere in development cycle that the last raid that we were going to see in Leviathan was Valko Or.
I don't
remember anything like that.
For
I don't remember
everybody
that.
not named, my name is Bife. Who the fuck is that?
Never heard of him.
Are you talking about Val Kilmer?
The Saint. I know him.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Valkor was the douchebag in Spire of Stars. That fight.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Boss fight. 6 different fail states before you get to damage phase.
Such a great raid. Such a great raid.
Great is not a word I'd use.
Dude, that was some stuff, man. You had to know what to do and where to be and pass the ball to each other, and there was enemies everywhere, and that's what I
potato through that.
I want that in a raid, man. Chaos, dude. Bring me the chaos.
The chaos is fun. We had names for those icons too. Power.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember
penis,
watching. Yeah,
quad. Really like lighten the mood and all the heat and anxiety from the raid.
Yeah, that particular encounter is the one where I don't think I need to run it again. I've beaten that raid. I don't need to go back into there because that was like Oryx on steroids. Whereas Oryx is a very straightforward but very mechanic heavy fight. Valkor is like, all right, you've got 5 different stages to get through before you shoot the guy. If you fail one of them, start over. And
come and get me.
Boy, I remember pulling some people through that, and that was not a fun time, Nim. That was not a fun 5 hours.
5 hours we were in that freaking raid lair, dude.
Yeah.
The one thing about Taken King is it was an incredibly teachable raid, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was no point in that raid where you couldn't get somebody who is absolutely new to that raid through it.
Right. Yeah.
And that was one of the beauties of that raid, but also one of the downfalls because you could basically just not participate during that raid to get through it.
Yeah.
That raid layer was not like that. Guys. You had to know your shit.
Everybody had to be on point.
Yeah.
So I mean, so looking at that as the extreme example of an encounter in Destiny 2 that is heavily mechanic focused versus something like Riven, where it's turned into a DPS check. I think Bungie could probably find a happy medium in between there. I think what was the name of the first boss in Wrath of the Machine?
Vossik.
Vossik.
Yeah, Vossik.
Yeah.
I think that was a nice mixture of mechanics, DPS phase, where you had to take down certain enemies.
Yeah.
Shoot your monitor, left side always forgets, hit your damn monitor, and then escape to a room before you get bopped before.
Yeah, that was fun. I forgot about that.
Before the damage phase. I think that was a pretty good mixture of DPS and mechanics, and that's the kind of mixture I'd like to see.
Who likes it when, like, the first time through Riven is obviously really difficult, and you gotta execute perfectly. 2 months in, you're just blasting her. You're not even thinking about it. You're chatting with your friends the whole time. I'm okay with that loop of gameplay, right? My 30th time through Riven, I don't necessarily need to be on my game. I'm okay with just throwing some rockets at her. And
even the process to getting to Riven is you kind of have to work for it, because I remember when the cluster rockets started to first become popular to run, you needed to be a certain power level to do so. You needed to be, I think, what was it, like 581 at the very least.
Above 580.
You needed like specific rocket launchers and like boots.
You needed the specific rocket launcher,
Yep, an extra rocket,
But it did require you to be a certain power and kind of climb up that way. And I kind of like that. And it gets to the point, now where it's just like, pull out your prospectors and have at it.
Loop.
So you were mentioning Wrath of the Machine, and Vosik and both Axes, I think, were really good examples of combining mechanics and DPS in this, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yep, I agree too. They were fun.
Let me ask you this, because the raid goes live, 6 hours after launch? You can go right in, 700, 715, whatever. Do you think we're going to end up getting a heroic or a hard mode since we can go in on day one at 715?
I wish.
Didn't they say that they were done with heroics?
I think so.
They
also said they weren't going to nerf everything to make everything balanced.
The old Bungie or the new Bungie?
Right. There might be a new Bungie that's like, heroic, here we come. I personally miss heroic, but the idea is that they like, if they put all this effort into making it normal and then everybody forgets about it a month later.
Yeah.
I think that's why they didn't want to do heroic anymore. But I thought the progression was really cool. When you went in with
you
normal.
had like a month of doing normal. You know, like you do the normal for a month and then you'd graduate to the hard mode.
Yeah,
I know, right? That was cool. It was a good progress, but they said no. They didn't like that.
It just are we going to get to 750 and just blast through this raid like it's nothing? And then at that point, does that 6-man match made activity, we don't know what it is, become the focal point of the content? Because you'd think that the raid would be your flagship, but Bungie has an issue where like less than 10% of the player base has ever even completed a raid, let alone the most recent raid.
Right.
6-man match made.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's always those kind of numbers are always going to be a thing when you have an MMO hybrid. Like, not everybody's going to participate in the end game. Some people are just specifically there to play PvP.
Yeah, the raid is worth more than just the value of who plays it too. It also, like, raid days get Destiny up on the top of the Twitch directory. It saturates YouTube. Like, there's a lot of like really positive aspects. Even if you don't raid, like it promotes Destiny in a really positive way because there's a lot of excitement about Destiny on raid, around the time of a raid.
It's part of the very fabric of the game. It's part of the very fabric of Destiny now. Destiny's known for the kind of crazy raid experiences that it's provided thus far. And I think that's probably going to be a thing moving forward. It does bum me out that a vast majority of the population never steps foot in one. But ultimately, I mean, you see how popular they are still. Like Briar said, raid day in Destiny is the day you see 200,000 people on Twitch watching Tefty get mad at something or get jebaited and betrayed by a teammate. It happens every time, and I love it.
Briar.
But
Briar blamed his RNG for being so low of his light level. Sure, Briar.
That's how it works. I've seen the internal.
Speaking of light level, I'm like 53 below the max light level right now. I got work to do in the next
53.
Yeah, I have played no season of the Drifter.
Are you guys gonna go for world first as a DCP team?
We're gonna win world first. That's a guarantee.
That's what I like to hear.
The recent news of Briar saying he's 653. You might have to shuffle. Have to have a recalculation here.
Put me
in. Got a ringer
ready.
now. This time around, we got Fran Marabella as a ringer. He didn't read the contract that I forged for him. He is locked into that raid.
He also has an uncle at Bungie. This is gonna.
That's true.
Yeah. Just slide the 700.
Fran Marabella's hair is going to get us through this raid in record time.
It is a high enough light level on its own.
The hair carry.
The entire team.
Yeah.
You made a comment, and I just want to ask you before we go further that you didn't play a lot of Season of the Drifter.
That's correct.
Why?
Good question.
It was not interesting to me.
Okay, take it further. What about it wasn't interesting to you?
What about it was interesting to me? I think would be a better question.
What about all the armor sets you can grind for in Reckoning, Briar? There's like 40 arms. There's like 40 different sets for
it's the same
that you don't rank up as you're playing Reckoning.
Different
you just have to go and earn them.
They were usable in Gambit, which is a game mode that I don't find a whole lot of joy in. Like if I'm not a Gambit player, I don't feel like there was a ton of content in this.
Yep.
In this season,
and I feel like 10% of the population was a Gambit player. And we talked about this months ago too. It's like, how much of a risk is it to put all of your eggs for a DLC or for a content drip or whatever you want to call it into a game mode that hasn't proven that it can move your game forward? in terms of drawing new players in terms of keeping players involved. So, I still play because I play PvP nonstop. I spent the past 2 months in quick play because that's still fun for me. But I'm not all aboard the Gambit train. It's kind of fun with some friends here and there, sprinkle it in, but
Beginning of the season, I played like 2 days of Gambit Prime to get the Delirium because I knew as soon as people started getting those sets that it was going to be a big pain in the ass to get those things done in Gambit. And I was like, hell no, I'm getting this done right now because I definitely wanted the Delirium. And then the next time I played Gambit was a couple days ago. So 3 months potentially. And I know a lot of people like Gambit. There was just a tournament that was really cool, and there's people who've like really dedicated time and energy to the Gambit experience, and I think that's awesome. But as a Destiny player, I don't find it the thing that I'm just gonna like sit down and play. Yeah.
I mirrored Tefty on that one. Like Gambit, it was amazing the first time I played it, but it just didn't have the replay value. And even when they changed it up to Gambit Prime, again, it was fun at first, and then it just didn't. For me personally, other people love Gambit, and I don't blame them. And I like watching people who are good at Gambit. Like it's actually a fun game mode to watch people play. Not as fun as Trials, but fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me also, like they bumped the power cap to 700 in this season, and then they gave just a handful of things to chase that were weapons. Yeah, you could go after those armor sets and the Reckoning, which is interesting, but again, as somebody who's not really interested in Gambit, I was like, that's big. It's basically meh for me. And then spare rations, obviously I was interested in getting that, but then when I saw what it takes to actually grind for spare rations, like I think the Reckoning grind is so boring.
Yeah.
I could do 3 tier 3 Reckonings or two tier 2 or whatever, and then after the third one, I'm like, oh man.
The drop rate is very low. I got the majority of my spare rations from Gambit Prime, actually. Got 5 of them to drop over the course of a weekend. Versus, I've had people who have done 100 straight tier 3 Reckonings and couldn't get, even tier 2, couldn't get a spare rations to drop at all, let alone if they did, whether or not it was a good roll.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
Gambit
a big
Prime
yikes.
worked out way better because the games were about 5 minutes. They weren't all that long. It was about probably the same amount of time as a Reckoning would even take. So if you are trying to grab one, if you guys out there, try Gambit Prime. See if that works for you.
Yeah, when
when
I first went through and got the Delirium, they hadn't added that to the loot pool yet, and I was really disappointed. I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're not gonna add these new weapons into your new game mode for dropping?" Yeah. Like, I was really smoked about that because that's one of the things from D1 that I really miss. Is that these these modes, like a strike playlist or a crucible playlist or trials, obviously, they all had these specific things that you could chase after. Like if you want to get an Eyes Luna, you're going to go and play PvP in D1, and that's been largely missing from D2's ecosystem.
And that's one of the things that I kind of ranted about on Twitter, maybe about like a month ago, and a lot of people seem to be in agreement with me, is that if you wanted people to grind either one of those activities, instead of making it a loop, give each activity its own armor set. If you want the Notorious set for Gambit Prime, play Gambit Prime. If you want to play Reckoning, bring back the Trials armor from year 1 and tie that to the Reckoning. You can't say that it doesn't fit automatically because
that seems really obvious too, right?
Really obvious, right?
It's like if you want people to have a carrot on a stick to chase for, bring back that armor set. It's not like you would have to add different textures or anything like that to it, unlike if you were bringing something from Destiny 1 over. But I'm not a big fan of I play a lot of Gambit and a lot of Gambit Prime. I'm not a fan of the way the investment system for the armor works. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Like I'm going for like Reckoner now, and one of the things that frustrates me. No, I'm almost done. I'm at like 9 out of 13. But one of the things that frustrates me to no end is that if I need to work now, for example, on the Notorious Reaper set, and I'm missing the helmet, because I haven't done that bounty over the course of the last couple of weeks. When I grab my first Notorious bounty, or not Notorious bounty, the the Reaper bounty to get the helmet, and I go do a tier 3 activity, I'm not going to get a tier 3 helmet. I'm going to get a tier 1 helmet because it's locked on a weekly rotation, like not rotation, but you have to do it like in order. So you have to do the first one that you get is the tier 1, and then the next week you get the tier 2, and it just it doesn't make any sense to me. Like I don't understand the investment system that they decided to go with for it.
And if you don't like Gambit, there's no reason to do Reckoning at all, because the gear you get out of Reckoning, which is a PvE content, is only usable. Well, it's not only usable, but it's only really geared.
It's beneficial there.
Bizarre system.
It benefits Gambit Prime.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta tell you, I think the whole season pass has been a bit of a disappointment. Like right from the get go, after Forsaken was so damn good, right? To start off year 2 with Forsaken, it was amazing. They haven't done anything in this season pass that's really gotten me excited. Going back to the forges.
Yeah,
I felt like the forges were fun personally. I liked grabbing a frame, knowing that I was going to pull a roll from that, and it wasn't like insanely. Like I could switch up the different forges to change the scenery if I was getting like, oh my god, I don't want to do the same place. Yeah.
So I don't know. There's definitely different aspects that I miss of each different type of content that we've seen. Like the trickle is kind of nice on occasion. Like you get things like the 0 hour or Thunderlord, or it's these special little missions, but not having the tower reset in terms of vendor wise, it's kind of a bummer.
And that's where a lot of your loot pool is tied into.
A real bummer.
That's why a lot of your gear is
not like not getting new strikes, not getting new PvP maps. That's where the annual pass really doesn't sit well with me.
I'll be honest.
Missions there's just trials being gone. Like I feel like there's less content in Destiny 2 now than there ever has been. Like it just feels like, and the content that they drip feed us, you spend like 4 hours going after it, and then you're kind of done. All right.
It's specialized.
Yeah, I feel like the season pass has been beneficial for us as content creators, but I don't think it's necessarily been beneficial for the population, because I think it creates more burnout faster, because people are like, I'll just do this little thing, and they get sick of it, and they're like, maybe I'm just not going to play Destiny. Wait for
that, or they fall behind and they lose all motivation to.
Yeah, exactly. They fall behind, and they're like 550,
650, because like, all right, I got to level up. I know I got to level up, but I'm going to be doing the same exact activities in the same rotation that I'm
getting
the
doing same loot.
Same loot.
Exactly.
All I'm hoping for is getting a engram that has higher power gear in it.
Yep. Yeah, that's been my biggest thing about the seasons, is that the no vendor or gear refresh is so detrimental.
Mind-blowing, man. It's mind-blowing.
So detrimental.
So the content feels like roadblocks for the sake of being roadblocks. Like there wasn't enough to put in both avenues, so we're going to take Gambit gear and put it in Reckoning to make Reckoning seem worthwhile to do, to make you go back and play this cycle. It felt like a roadblock. The way we unlocked the forges.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Roadblocks. It was like, we have a wheel on the wall, and we spin that wheel, and whatever it lands on is what we're going to do for the progress. So here it is, kill a Minotaur in whatever it's called, a Nessus 20 times to unlock the next step. Like it was a roadblock for the sake of there just being something in the way. Whereas before, we got missions that drove us through a narrative. And you talk about Forsaken, how good it was, man. It set a bar for Destiny. I don't think it's been there since Rise of Iron. Right. Like the character development, I don't think is something we'd ever seen in terms of the personalities of the characters. Having a true villain outside of Gaul, who I'm killing him with a pulse rifle and a hand cannon, feeling like the weakest person who ever existed. So like, it really set a bar that might have almost been impossible to hit thereafter. But I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm done with trickle content. I don't want it anymore. Hit me in the face with all of it at once, because it hasn't been enjoyable. I want things, because I'm a collector, and I look at my armor and it says 600 out of 950, and I'm like, holy I got to do so much Reckoning, dude, because 80 of it is Reckoning armor. And like I want that, but I it's like Tef said, like after the third time through a Reckoning, I'm like, I can't look at this space.
It's anymore. Painful, right? It's painful.
Even like the story stuff with just having to do the blind well every week over and over and over again. It's like, even like there's just these kind of loops, these small loops that have gotten really repetitive, frankly, since Forsaken. Like Forsaken launched, and it was so good, and then like it just kind of like
It just keeps going.
A big refresh. Yeah, we just need a big refresh.
And this is something that we've talked about on several occasions. You know, we haven't seen a tower refresh since Forsaken. There's been no additional strikes. There's been no additional PvP maps.
They used to do it for every DLC.
Every the factions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did the factions go?
Yeah.
Planetary vendors have been static in terms of like armor since year 1, since Destiny came out. So there's a bunch of vendors that have been just collecting dust for so long.
Failsafe is such a good character, man. Give me every reason to go talk to her because she is a riot. She cracks me up, dude.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and it feels like Destiny has become more of a shooter than a looter shooter. Like the looter side has become secondary quite a bit. I mean, it was big time with the launch of D2. It was obviously shooter first, and then there's the stuff that you can collect. They brought us closer towards what it was in D1, but it still feels like they're focused more on the shooter aspect, the experiences you get from that when you first get that weapon, and then they forget about the like I said, the horizontal progression of loot, of like discovering different roles. Like Farm to Goal was in their eyes a bad thing, but in the community's eyes, it was so exciting to farm to Goal and see all these roles that you're getting from Grasp of Malak.
Because you know what that reminds me of like grinding the bunker for like a bitch.
It really is exactly like, and the developers were like, well, we don't want you doing that, but it's like, why not?
Why? Yeah.
If your audience is enjoying doing that, put more of that in the game. Give them stuff to go after. I mean,
it feels like there's like the looter side of Bungie, and then like the shooter side, and they're like, balance, more loot, fun. But it needs to be work in PvP. Well,
let me ask.
That classic situation of a developer having their ideas for what they want their game to be. And then sometimes that just doesn't line up with what your audience wants. Everybody here remembers the loot cave. We all remember the loot cave and the things we were doing there. We all remember farming for specific roles of weapons. And it wasn't what Bungie intended, but it's what we wound up doing and what we wound up enjoying. And it's definitely that dichotomy between developer intention and...
I would say the loot cave was a good patch, though. I mean, you don't want 90% of your population standing in one spot shooting at one spot, right?
Like, and bullying the one person who gets too close. Get away from the cave, idiot!
But it gave you a viewpoint of what people were after.
What we wanted.
Yeah. And I feel like
in that situation, we wanted legendary engrams. This is why we farmed the loot cave specifically.
Right. That's when legendary engrams used to turn into blue items.
Blues. Right. Oh, good lord. Oh, that.
I'm surprised Destiny ever survived
legendary
that.
too, didn't they?
that was killer.
It is
amazing.
Painful. It is amazing that it actually survived through some of the atrocities that they had in there.
The 6 months of like no content.
All right.
Right. So we talk about how there's not as much loot, not as much refresh, and let me ask you guys, Tefty and Briar, we have so many sparrows and so many ghost shells.
Oh my god.
And so many ships.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
And so many whatever we spawn in and turn into confetti. Like, do you feel like some of the resources that would have been part of that were taken up, and now instead of getting weapons and stuff, we have all that?
It's a looter fucking shooter, but you have a store selling some of the best stuff in the game.
Every time.
It does not work with a looter shooter, especially when we get season pass updates that are very light on content. We get Trials of Osiris with no refresh in gear, but the loot store gets a brand spanking new, like all new gear, right? Like where.
New armor.
Man, like, are you trying to reward players or just the whales that are spending all their money on Tess Everest?
She's the only vendor in the game.
Tess Everest has any. Yeah, she's the only vendor in the game that gets loot refreshes. I don't believe she has any place
that hurts.
in the game.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
I never realized that until just now.
They need to find a different way to monetize Destiny. They have to find a different way to monetize Destiny because Tess Everest is. Like the model they have right now, it de-incentivizes me to go out and play Destiny when I see all the best loot is just available for sale in the Eververse.
Well, on top of that, you see all these really nice designs for sparrows, ghosts, and obviously the leap between a weapon and a sparrow or a ghost is farther, but it's not a valley. clearly, if they took the time to design a really cool looking sparrow, they could have taken the time to design a really cool looking weapon, or a series of weapons with that effort and energy, and convert that into some new drops into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I want. I could care less if my sparrow has a new panel of gold on it. I don't care about that.
It's strange because like as you mentioned, Briar, like a lot of the better stuff and some of the more like thematic, depending on what season you're on or whatever, is tied to Eververse rather than putting that kind of stuff in game. Like I remember when Warmind came out, they had like the Warmind looking ship and the Sparrow, both in Eververse, not acquirable in game.
Yeah,
I mean, like you could get it, but just
100%
you got an awesome
like
ship by
endgame
beating
drops.
a raid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you showed off that ship when you were in a fire team, and people were like, "Where'd you get that ship?" I beat Vault of Glass.
Do the raid.
Yeah.
How did you get it in Destiny 2? I paid some girl standing at a counter for it.
Eververse.
They have gotten better at it though, with like the Taken Sparrow, with the 1,000 Wings. Like some of those things are like they're definitely trophies to have, but yeah, largely a good amount of the ornaments that like come for weapons and armor pieces and stuff like that are just, I don't know.
How dope would it be if instead of getting an ornament from Tess Evervis, you got 1,000 kills in the Crucible with a gun, you got an ornament for it, and then you showed that ornament off, and everybody was like, "Damn, that dude played a lot with that gun."
Makes too much sense, Briar. I'm sorry.
Too much. You got to stop it. Cut it out.
Yeah. Well, they do have that though. 2,500 kills with the burden.
Get out of my face!
Get yourself a shiny new emblem. 2,500 burden
emblem. It's very not shiny, actually.
I feel insulted. I feel physically attacked, Tefty.
Yeah, I feel physically attacked too, actually. I actually attacked myself with that.
Yeah.
I completely agree on this stuff. Like they have to really redesign their investment right now in Destiny, because so much of this is still coming over from D2, where these are just bad decisions, just straight up. For a looter shooter, these are bad decisions because it's rooted in a shooter with like loot attached to it, and it really they need to go hand in hand, 100%.
Yeah,
they need to stop putting in a bunch of really cool looking endgame type of stuff in Eververse and sprinkle them throughout the world and throughout the activities, and give Eververse some crazy stuff like a hot dog on a stick or something, like the marshmallow emote. Like that's great. I like that. Like you suddenly zip up and you're a giant hot dog with an emote. Cool. That doesn't make any sense in the Destiny universe. That's fine. I'll spend money on that. But if I get a ship that looks like it was in the raid from Eververse, nah, fam, that ain't cool.
Yeah.
I think there's other ways that they could monetize Destiny, without doing this too. Like, what if they charged, $60 for the season pass, but everybody gets all the stuff that's in Eververse by playing the game, right? Or what if they charge $30 per season, but everybody gets what's in Eververse in the game? Like, that's all earnable loot, and it incentivizes you to actually play the game instead of paying Eververse.
So like a Fortnite model almost?
Whatever. There's got to be a better way, because this model they have is bad for a looter shooter. Like, it de-incentivizes you to play the game.
Exactly. Another thing, too, is I know for a fact that making armor sets is very expensive from their development time. In every single season, there's a new armor set for all 3 classes, and then they get phased out, and you forget about them, and it's like all that time in development just, I feel like, is a waste.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of the Eververse stuff from year 1. It's just unusable now because
it's gone. Yeah.
You can't really use it effectively in year 2.
Goes for everything in year 1.
Yeah. And a perfect example of like what we're talking about right now, Apsis Props in chat right now said it would have been more fun to earn my servitor shell instead of buying it. Yep. And like that came out
exactly
right
read
with
the rest of the comment, Nim. Read the rest, coward.
Do it. I will not. With the rest. Apparently, Apsis is the slut for the Fallen.
I like the Fallen. I'm all about that Lixney.
There you go.
Right,
is that what's happening here?
With that ghost
slut shaming for the Fallen. Not into quad arms? Come on, man.
Right. More arms.
King shame the Fallen, man. Not cool.
the totem shell, like how cool would have that been if that was a drop or a chance for it dropping from like the heroic version?
Absolutely.
0 hour. Like it fits thematically, but it's still in a monetary store. It's just I don't know.
I just don't. I think anything in Eververse should not be fundamentally connected to the lore.
Yeah.
It should be silly stuff. Like it should be the Fortnite stuff where you got like some crazy lawn thing. Yeah, John Wick or lawn gnome or some crap like that. Like that makes sense for Eververse to be like, hey, I found some crazy stuff that you may or may not care about, and get my cool servitor while inactivity is being played.
And I think Briar is absolutely right, because it's just not a good look when the only vendor getting a refresh every single season is Tess. Like she gets a new set of armor for all 3 classes every time we have some new content.
Every week she gets a refresh in what she sells.
Refresh every week. Meanwhile, Shax is sitting over there like, hey, Guardian, you want this last perdition I've had for 6 months?
It's kind of rusty.
Want to spend some tokens on me?
Get the same set of armor that we've had since
Sybil, Steel Sybil from God, that sword.
Oh my God.
It's this weird thing where like that focus is being put on Eververse, and I would have no problem with Eververse getting that kind of new stuff, getting the sparrows and all that kind of stuff, if there was other new stuff being added to the free part of the game.
Exactly.
If there was stuff for me to grind for Shax from Zavala, from Ikora, and stuff like that, but there's not.
Yeah,
it's just not there.
Like if I was grinding Blindwell to get the story, for months on end, but like every season there was a new set of weapons available as drops in the Blindwell, I'd be like, well, I mean, I'm a little sick of Blindwell, but I really want that god roll on that hand cannon.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, like incentivizes me to play, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's all about the loot. That's what people are playing this game for. I mean, yeah, sure, the shooting is immaculate. The set pieces are great, but ultimately this is a looter shooter. People are trying to get loot. And
but TBL, I play for the lore.
Oh, I mean, I'm here for the hidden ghosts.
Okay, so I got Chronicler this week, and I take offense.
Listen, if I'm into the lore, I'm going to go to Bife's channel and watch every single video. All right?
That's basically what I do. I go to Bife and Mylan Games to watch the video on the lore.
Cool guys.
That's basically what I do.
Yeah, if I want to hear the story of the last word, I'm going to go to Bife's channel and watch Nim get shot. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go watch him say one line and get shot.
Thanks.
I love you, brother.
I do want to say that there's a huge diversity of gamers in Destiny, and that is what makes Destiny very unique. You got hardcore PvPers that could care less about any raid. Got some PvPers who've never even stepped into, like, probably have never played certain strikes because they just don't care, and they're only playing PvP. You got people who are obsessed about the lore. You got people who are obsessed about speedrun and raids. Like, there is a wide set, but I feel like the majority also really connects with new loot. And I feel like that's the fundamental connector across all of it.
Look, Destiny, at least in my opinion, is a PvE game first and a PvP game second. It's PvE with PvP on the side.
You watch your mouth.
And I'm sorry, we have an absolute sweatlord here. And it definitely hurts. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Borderlands 2 was so ahead of its time with the way it handled their drops and the way to farm stuff, because it's not that different when we're looking at it than Destiny. Outside of Destiny has raids and stuff like that, but
I agree with you. I think that's true now, is that it's a PvE game with PvP on the side. But think back to House of Wolves days. What was that game then? Right? That was it
was purely trials.
PvP.
It was trials.
So it was purely trials.
Who is Destiny's target audience? And why does it change every 6 months?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But see, and that's probably why we're at where we're at now, because we went through so many content droughts back in Destiny 1, and they're trying to stop that. And they're trying to keep
if you're a decision maker at Bungie, how do you let Destiny 2 not have Trials of Osiris in it? How is that even possible? The singular most popular thing about Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 doesn't have it.
Yeah,
How is that?
We have comp, dude. It's
How is
so
that a
much
thing that
better,
happened?
bro. Comp is so much better than Trials.
Comp
Right?
is
so much better than
just
Trials.
wonderful.
Those
I heard
totally
you like
unique
Countdown.
rewards, bro. Let's go play some comp. No. Yeah, it still doesn't make sense to me how Trials was left behind. Like
It's also weird how it's almost like prideful, being like, well, we're not going to bring back the same thing because we need to innovate. And it's like, well, sometimes I respect innovation, but you don't always have to reinvent the wheel on this stuff.
Yeah.
Like sometimes fun content is just fun content.
I got that vibe too, that they really wanted to do something different with Trials, and like there was no problem with Trials in D1.
There's a couple things that would make Trials in D2 annoying. And it kind of goes back to the mod
they did them all in
being,
year one.
Right. I mean, super mods too. We didn't have super mods in D1 or Paragon mods. That's something that would be...
No, but we had Scories.
In Destiny 1.
Yeah.
We didn't have Scories in Destiny 2 year 1. We had the Aeon exotics. But like, so there's a couple things that would make it annoying, and so I can see both sides of it. Like I kind of dude, if I get hit by it on a mountaintop, like I'm just so tired of grenade launchers. I can just see it being rampant. I could just see the meta being Recluse and grenade launcher, and let's all just go out. It'd be the same thing as Thorn and Blink shotgun was for 6 months. It was a meta, and like I got over that real quick. Like the thing about the current PvP meta is that you can kind of play different ways and be effective. I don't know if that would lend itself to comp or to high tier Trials of Osiris, though. You know, so
yeah,
I'd rather have it and complain about it than it not be here. If that makes any sense. I'm gonna complain anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is the community is always going to have issues and be upset about something, and that's just the nature of a live service game.
Yep.
But completely removing it, like I recently, very very recently, as of a couple days ago, started playing PvP again, and I will say I've been enjoying it. I'm also using protection. All right, I bought some protection in the form of a VPN to make sure I'm prepared.
Yeah.
For any issues that come my way.
Shenanigans.
And I've been having fun with it, but also highlighted the fact that I do miss the option of playing Trials every weekend. I didn't play it every weekend once I got all the stuff, but it was fun to be like, hey, let's run a card, because it was just an interesting little mini tournament that you got to play with your friends.
It was a gamble.
And it had some pretty amazing looking loot tied to it as well.
Armor and weaponry at that.
Yeah.
And you got bounties that allowed you to acquire that gear without having to go flawless to get it, which I think was a huge part.
That was beautiful.
A huge part in whatever year that was introduced, maybe year 2.
Yeah.
They brought that in, but
it was this functioning self-contained game mode. You went in, you could play it. It was a weekly event, so it felt special. It was a great draw for Twitch. That's how. Shoot, I still argue that's how Destiny survived after the first 4 or 5.
How many copies of Destiny 2 got sold because of
Trials?
Trials popularity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
How many of those people who bought Destiny 2 are playing Destiny 2 right now? I mean, the reason they bought it, they took out of the game. Who are they targeting Destiny at? Like, they keep changing that, and that's really hard. Like, for people who play Destiny 2, because they're constantly trying to reinvent it, but at some point they got to like say, hey, this is who we are, and this is the game we're making. You know, I think that's one of the successes of Borderlands 3. You know, having only played it for an hour. You know, this is Borderlands 2. This is like a bigger, badder version of Borderlands 2. They know their audience, and they're going after it, right?
Yep. That's what I walked away with. That is like they weren't trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna go through my weird creative, psychedelic phase, making some art piece that's gonna like wow people but piss off certain people. No, they're like, let's take what was awesome, the meat and potatoes of what's awesome, and do more of that. And I wish Destiny would do that. Take more of what they know is awesome and just lean into that.
Yeah. That makes me so happy to hear, because it sounds like they knew what their audience was. They knew what kind of game their audience liked. They knew what their roots were, and they're just making that. And I wish Bungie would do that sometime.
Has Destiny ever
5
had
years
that?
in, it's time for Bungie to like lean into the stuff that people like. They know what people like. We've told them what we like. Lean into it. It's time. You know, maybe we got to wait for Destiny 3 for that at this point, which isn't the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
But I hope they nail it next time because we thought they were going to nail it for Destiny 2, and whoa.
It took a while for it to get good.
Yeah, Trav. I saw Typhoon Trav posting photos of the D2 events.
Oh yeah,
Made me sad. I was like, we were so like, we had no idea.
We were so naive.
I remember walking up to that PlayStation 4. It was me, Tefty, and Pope Bear. And we're looking at those monitors. Is this still 30 frames per? Is this 30? I think this is 30 frames per second.
We both looked at each other like, "This 30? Oh my God, it's 30 FPS.
What
no
do you
way.
mean?
Oh shit!
But it's in 4K."
Yeah, but then we walked into the back room where they had the PCs. We're like, oh.
Oh boy.
Was it behind a curtain? And was there somebody that was just there that was just like, "Hey, the good stuff's in the back"?
It was definitely like in the back.
Yeah. Slide to the back room.
That's the thing that I hope at D3 is that they can. I don't think they're going to change their engine, honestly, but I want them to invest the resources to actually do an engine change so they can successfully hit 60 FPS and also have dedicated servers for PvP. For PvE, they can stick with peer-to-peer because I understand you want to be able to have somebody in Russia and in Australia and in a couple people in mid-United States. Like, that's great. I understand that works for that setup. But when it comes to PvP, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just straight up, it's a bad setup. Like, things just feel very inconsistent. One person is gobbling bullets. Another person, you can shoot their head. You can completely miss their head, like an obvious miss, and it becomes a headshot. And you're like, what? They need to fix that.
Man, this podcast has been really cathartic. I feel like we've gotten a lot out.
It's been a very cathartic, Briar.
Can we get a group hug in here?
Yeah. Guardian Con, we'll see you there. Group hug there.
God damn it.
Yeah, gosh, man. You heard it from the patron saint of the Church of Frames himself. D3, 60 FPS at least or bust, because there's
it needs to, right?
It's not happening. There's no way.
Yeah.
Not on PlayStation 4.
Earliest it could be 2020, because obviously it'd be blown away if they were like D3 is coming in September. I'd be like, what? So 2020 earliest, most likely 2021. Can you imagine them dropping a game in 2021 of this caliber and not be 60 FPS?
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. 100%. I honestly, they've got limited hardware to work with. Yeah, it'll probably come out on the next gen consoles too, and it better be 60.
Yeah.
But on PS4 and Xbox One, it's gonna be 30 because they're gonna go for screenshots. It's got to look good. It's got to be 4K.
What about the PS5 in 8K, Briar?
Oh my God, I'm all over that 8K.
Oh dear God.
Unlimited frames in 8K. That's the new life. That's the Richard Branson of gaming right there.
Meanwhile, you try to boot up Anthem on that and it'll just kill your entire rig.
That's right.
And your family.
It's warm though.
And your family. It actually goes after the loved ones. Yeah, I'm actually right there with you, Tefty. I don't think we see D3 till 2020 at the earliest.
Yeah, at the earliest, right? 2020.
Yeah.
And if it is 2020, I'm going to be concerned because I really want them to. I want them to do a BL3 type of thing where they really solve these problems, and they don't have Activision saying when you're going to release. It's them now.
Yeah.
And if we get some smaller updates throughout D2's life, for me personally, I'm okay with that. I know there's a lot of people that right now are going to be really pissed off if we don't see big updates happen in September and over a year or two. But I think if they were D3 with just all of your fantasy dreams about the game coming true, people are absolutely going to freak out and want to buy it and want to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, we'll assume 2020 to 2021 is the earliest. What do they do for the next year of D2? You kind of mentioned there maybe smaller DLC releases.
What's this September?
Or another annual pass, something like that?
So, I've thought about this quite a bit.
Bring it on.
If they continue with the annual pass, they 100% have to fix the loot situation.
Yes.
all of these seasons are extremely marred with the fact that you level up for a number and not see new loot. And if they're going to do that, the world drops have to refresh. I don't think Destiny has an issue of what stuff to do. It has plenty of things to do. It's got a crap load of content.
Yep.
But a lot of it gives you the same stuff and the same rewards. And that only goes so far as a few times, and then I'm done with that. So they have to refresh the world drops if they're going to continue with the season pass type of thing. I personally would rather see a Rise of Iron 2.0 type of thing happen with an April update or something like that, because I think it would be better for the health of the game.
Yeah. So kind of like a Rise of Iron release with maybe an Age of Triumph in the spring that, who knows, maybe takes all the raids from year 1 and year 2 of D2 and revamps them.
They do that and then also refresh world drops for every season. So if they actually keep on doing what they're doing with the seasons, but not necessarily have to have some sort of like new activity every time, then I'd be okay with that. And again, like they have so many things that they could leverage. Like look at the forges. How about let's refresh the loot in the forges?
Why not, right?
Right?
There's so many questions
Osiris's
there.
Forge, refresh of Osiris, looking back
100%.
at Osiris DLC compared to where we're at right now, like it actually seemed like it was really good compared to what we just kind of went through with Season of the Drift or even Season of the Forge. I don't know.
Well, and also on top of all that, let's bring back trials.
Bring back trials, please.
Just bring back trials.
Just
make it 3v3.
Yeah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. Just bring back 3v3 trials. It's
elimination.
Yeah.
Just bring us a limb. That's it.
We could probably just forget about comp,
Yeah.
I keep saying trade off, get rid of comp, put trials in, call it a day.
Right? Nobody's going to be like, oh.
Is anybody out there saying keep comp? Is anybody saying it?
I don't think so.
I'm sure most of the people who play comp truly enjoy it. Honestly,
no,
you talk to them, it's like they'll do it to help people get their X, Y, or Z, or to help with titles or collections or whatnot. But the majority of people out, like you don't see people going crazy on Twitter talking about.
Did those people used to stream trials?
Some of them, a lot of those people left. A lot of the trial Sherpas are all doing, whether it's Fortnite or Apex, a lot of them just aren't even in the game anymore. A lot of the current comp players, I'd say less than 50% of them came from the trials Destiny 1.
Yeah. I would say most people are just playing comp to get their Lunas. They're not forgotten. They're mountaintop, and then
for now
they're out.
Until not
for now. Luna's about to die.
Yeah.
And also it becomes like a ghost town of recovs essentially once you get past 2100 mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 3,000
actually, under
pennies, they need to
2100 might be
recover
worse.
bad.
Even under 2100, yeah. See that
because Recluse is way easier to get now with win streaks and the point system rewarded. Luna's how just reaching the rank is a little bit easier. So what happens is sub 2100, you're going to have almost more recovs than you would 2100 plus. So all the potatoes may actually end up at 2100 plus when they go back on their own accounts and they're a higher power. I mean, up to a certain point, eventually they'll fall back down. Like with 4000 plus, you're going to end up playing against like some really sick players. But there's a lot of people who are under 2100 who are not on their account right now.
Right.
Yeah.
For now, next season.
Yeah.
How did the Recluse not get anyway?
That's not nerfed.
It's new.
So it's gonna get nerfed. It's gonna happen.
Reckless is awful. It could actually use a buff.
It's so bad. It's such a bad weapon. It's terrible.
Such a
I hate
horrible
it.
weapon.
Maybe
Yeah,
at the end of season opulence, they're like, well, what's on the chopping block?
Itsy bitsy little
Itsy
spider.
bitsy spider's gonna have to go.
Yeah.
I just find it hilarious that all of the Crucible pinnacle weapons have been almost god tier in PvE, and the PvE pinnacle perks are kind of, or weapons are just kind of meh.
Loaded question.
I think
oxygen.
I think what's amazing is in that TWAB, when they talked about Ace of Spades, they said it's a little too prevalent in the Crucible, which is obviously not the case for console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Console, you don't see that.
Controller.
Yeah, but then on
What's
top
Ace
of
of
that,
Spades?
they're like, they said they're doing some changes to it because of its prevalence, and none of the changes are really going to change why people use it on PC because it's
not at all.
super accurate.
Yep.
It's got great range. It hits. It actually connects. The registration's great, and none of that's being addressed in the TWAB. So I'm like, it's weird. It's weird narratives that are coming from a bunch that make you kind of go, huh?
It's
I swear, ever since Holtzman joined Bungie, just things have been going
Bad news, right? Bad.
We figured it out, everybody.
At least we got someone we can blame.
Look what's happened.
God damn it, Pat.
What's this button do?
But you're right. Like, it's this weird roundabout way of dealing with these sorts of things, and it's the same sort of thing with Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten, which are both fantastic weapons. But if you play on PC, both of those guns are completely overshadowed by Ace. Ace is a better version of those guns in basically all categories, and that's only on PC because the whole Bloom situation. So we're going to be nerfing Ace, but not really nerfing anything that makes Ace good. And we're nerfing Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten while ignoring the greater problem of the fact that everything that's not a 180 RPM hand cannon is just completely inconsistent on console. Like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain with the big bloom on his forehead. It's this weird roundabout way of developing these things. I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Just fix hand cannons.
I mean, clearly this is not an easy thing. Like, everybody keeps trying to make this game, and Bungie's doing it the best, right? Bungie's done the best job of it. Arguably, Division 2 is a really good game. It's just it doesn't satisfy the same urges as Destiny does, right?
No.
But obviously, this is a really hard thing to do. Everybody keeps taking a crack at it, and there's a lot of swings and misses out there.
Well, what I read between the lines on this stuff is that they are focusing on the future of Destiny instead of focusing on this Destiny right now.
Yeah,
that's what I see with that. I feel like a lot of these are band-aids. They're just kind of they're plugging holes in a boat of their sandbox. You know what I mean? But ultimately, there's still a bunch of holes that they're trying to like figure out how they bounce things around while they work on Destiny 3.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a bigger picture thing
for like 8 months, though, like, or even longer. I feel like that exact phrase has been coming out of my mouth like since Destiny 1 year 3. Like, oh, they were just working on the next version of it. Oh, they're just working on the next version of it. Well, the next version of it's right here, and like, I don't know, man. Hand cannons aside, like, the only primary weapons you see are hand cannons or pulse rifles. There's like there's no meta for auto rifles. They're laughable. Scout rifles are actually outranged by
pulse rifles.
By pulse rifles, and like, so, like, at some point, I need it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's been a long wait, and I mean,
you can see that. I mean, just look at the people who were out there in the press talking Destiny when Destiny 2 was launching. Those people are not in the, they immediately started working on Destiny 3. You haven't heard from them since the launch. A few months after the launch, I think we got that Bungie apology podcast, right?
Yeah.
And that was basically the last time we heard from, like, the guys that were in charge of Destiny 2. They're clearly, they're not working on Destiny 2 anymore. They're working on Destiny 3.
Is that what the Crucible team?
I think so.
I think there's a live team that is now in charge of keeping Destiny 2 running, and you can see based on the content that we're getting that it's not a big team.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picking up on this, is that they're not fully saying that, hey, here's a small live team now focusing on this game, but like, I feel like they're worried about that
it definitely
information.
It definitely feels like a lot of teams have shifted internally because
Season of Opulence is primarily getting developed by Vicarious Visions, right? And they lose access to those guys.
That was their last
so next round, next year, when they don't have the Activision support system from other developers, like, what are what's year 3 of Destiny 2 look like?
We'll find out in September.
Or we'll be playing Borderlands 2. Who knows?
What do you guys think is going to happen in September, along with the juggernaut of Borderlands 3 showing up?
Oh my god, yeah.
Nothing. I think the right answer would be nothing.
You think? So? No season? Nothing?
I would... Do you risk being Titanfall 2 at that point?
But
without being one of the most amazing shooter games that ever existed, because Titanfall 2 is amazing and nobody cared. But like,
that puts in perspective.
I cared, man. I cared.
I did, like,
owie.
It's the truth, though, right? Like, do you risk being Titanfall 2, or nobody cares what you put out? That's to me what September would be. People have been waiting. I mean, it's not like Borderlands 2 came out a year ago.
No.
Yeah.
Like this has been building since my professional career as a content creator started. Like one of the first sentences I ever heard on Twitch was like, "Oh man, I can't wait for Borderlands 3." That was 4 years ago.
I don't know, because like anymore in the market, it's about relevance, right? It's like if you're only as good as your last release. That's for everything, right?
Yeah.
So like if they release Season of Opulence and then we get Solstice of Heroes, and then that's it in September.
That's coming within Opulence,
right?
I mean, they've already hinted that there's something after.
But
we definitely know there's something in September.
I definitely see it as like, all right, guys, we're going head to head up against this juggernaut. I see another pass coming. Other than that, I don't know. Like, I can't.
If Bungie is really smart, that would be Trials.
Yeah,
it's true.
That would be
because the PvP community is probably not going to care a whole too lot about what Borderlands has to offer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Is the PvP community even really playing anymore, or have they all moved on? Like, I know there are still PvP guys, but I think based on Destiny 2, like I think a huge majority of PvP people have moved on.
They're gone.
A huge majority.
If it came back and it was good, though, how many people would come back?
Does an arena shooter like attract people in a world where that's moved away from arena shooters, right?
The world where Apex exists.
Apex, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, Fortnite, even Overwatch, there's
maybe
been
not as much as Trials.
There's been an evolution to the shooter genre that Bungie hasn't really, pursued. They still have, an arena-based shooter, which a lot of people still like,
I think in terms of what Trials made originally, I don't think it could ever come back to that point. But there would definitely be a resurgence of people who are still interested in the thing that Bungie has, or the thing that Destiny offers, because it is still unique and it is tough to find a game that's going to give you what Destiny gives you, especially in PvP as well. Is broken and imbalanced and as crappy the netcode is in Destiny. It still is a unique experience that you can't just go, well, I'll go play this game instead and get the same thing. It doesn't exist. So if they did bring back...
Tefty said netcode.
It's time to drink, guys.
It's
Fortnite's
I only have like 4 a year that I can say. That was one of them right there.
It's an old tradition, but we still honor it here.
Trials of Osiris. Trials of Osiris was a mind-blowing game mode that no other game had. It was just completely unique to Destiny. And you got it on top of a game where you had thousands of weapons to choose from.
Yep.
Trials of Osiris is a done thing now. Like, it's not going to pull the same weight that it did the first time it came out. And it's not surrounded by other arena shooters. The Call of Duty is not its primary, competition anymore. The PvP shooter world has just really gone crazy and moved on. I just don't know that, like a arena shooter ever really gets them going again.
What about the rumors of a PvPvE coming?
That could be really good.
It could be.
It really depends on execution,
And repeatability, replayability. Because Gambit Prime, we have it in Gambit Prime right now, and Gambit itself. We kind of see what that would have to offer.
What was that mode called in Halo 5? Was it Halo 5? Halo 5.
Firefight.
Yeah. Like that
cool.
Really, it seemed like it was perfectly suited to something like Destiny. If you could just go around and patrol and, there are objectives, but there are also PvP. At any
if
point,
we see that,
like a dude hiding in a bush with a sniper rifle, what would patrol look like at that point?
If we see anything like that, I honestly don't think it's going to be until whatever next iteration of Destiny we're going to see.
Absolutely. It's not going to be in a September release.
No.
We have trouble loading menus on console, trying to players and on console in an environment like that. I could just see it like loading for 20 minutes before it actually happens.
That's another thing that nobody ever talks about Destiny 2 is Destiny 2 just doesn't play as well as Destiny 1 on console. Like it just straight up, like the guns don't feel as good. Like the game runs slower. Like a lot of people move to PC where you could make up for that by using a mouse and keyboard. But with a controller, firing a gun just doesn't feel as good as it did in Destiny 1.
That scout rifle feel is way off.
Yeah.
Hand cannon feel is way off.
No.
Exactly.
There's no reason to fire that weapon right now.
Yeah.
That's true. With you guys talking about this, it does make sense though for Bungie to focus on a big PvP revamp. And because if Borderlands 3 is coming, they obviously need to do something to appease the live service. And the PvP side has been essentially laying dormant aside from a few pinnacle weapons every season. And it would serve them really well to have like some sort of revamp in PvP, whether it's some new trials or some new mode, or just finally getting more communicative about what they're going to do to the sandbox, more changes and all that. I think it would serve them really well to focus more on PvP.
It's their secret weapon. I mean, we talked about this earlier, but Trials is what kept this game alive during the drought of content between like the Taken King and the Rise of Iron. Trials absolutely carried Destiny, became known for that game mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit of a sleeping dragon with Destiny right now that isn't seeing the development that it needs. I think so. I think it is.
I think so.
I don't know. I think you bring back Trials and you get a bunch of old people who come back for a month and are like, oh yeah, I used to play Trials.
Well, I don't think bringing back Trials
alone. But I played it for 3
enough.
years and now I play Fortnite.
Here's the thing about the Destiny community and if it relates to content creation in general, whether it's YouTube or Twitch, is that it's not nearly as, what's the word, diluted. Whereas everybody, you can't play Fortnite without having TTV kill you kind of thing. Is like the Destiny community, like they spend money. Financially speaking, it is a lucrative directory to be a part of. So it wouldn't be out of the question for some people, especially given the state that Fortnite and Apex have been in, which are on a downward trend right now. Apex is doing some goofy stuff with their season pass that nobody really cares about. They feel like the devs aren't paying attention to what the player base wants right now anyway. And Fortnite's kind of at that age where it's kind of just been around for a while. And a lot of people, and I see this a lot on my Twitter feed, like a lot of people don't actually know what to play. It's almost like there's where if Bungie just got something together for them, that they would pull back a pretty significant portion of the player base. I don't know if it would be the people out there who are 13 and 14 and 20,000 viewers and whatnot, but the 100 to 250 range and below broadcasters, you'd probably see a pretty decent resurgence of those people coming back if Trials came back to the form, a playable version. I'm going to say just a playable version of it.
The biggest thing that reminds me of that is the fact that recovs exist and people are willing to spend $500, $600, $700 on Not Forgotten.
That's just insane to me.
If that exists, of course, the desire for people to get loot in Trials of Osiris is going to exist. Like, just straight up
demand.
Yeah. Obviously, like people will come back and want to get that loot. The problem is, will they maintain the desire for new loot? Because again, if every season has a world drop refresh and new things that you can get from some of these activities, like if they brought back Trials and then they just kept the same loot for a year, then once again, that's where the stagnation lies. Like people don't. Yeah, it gets old. But so they've been doing this thing where they're adding a pinnacle weapon every season, and that's like a very small window of that. And you see a lot of resurgence. People come back because got to get this weapon now. Got to get that. I'm paying recovs for that stuff. There is a market for it. It's not going to be as big as Fortnite or Apex. It's just not. But it's going to be bigger than what currently exists. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't need to be.
We don't even know and there's no guarantee that it'll even get back to being as big as Trials used to be, where we're seeing like 700,000 players minimum logging on for a weekend to play Trials and Destiny. But I do think that if they can bring it back, if they can assure some sort of reset, some sort of a refresh on gear within a timely basis, and it's not a year of one armor set, I think that there's definitely an exploitable market there. There's people who want to play Destiny in a PvP competitive sense. They absolutely want to.
Yep.
And right now that market's being ignored. That's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
All right.
Yo, if we go another hour, we can completely skip Game of Thrones. It's not even a full hour. It's like 55 minutes.
Invitations of the 9 cutscene.
But we risk spoilers, so
off to questions.
Off to questions we go. Okay, so first questions is from Mills. What is your favorite PD memory? I'm guessing this is aimed at Teft and Briar, but anybody can answer.
TBL, why don't we start with you?
Why me? Sheesh.
Easiest target.
Specific PD memory?
Yeah.
Okay, so back when the Taken King first came out, and like Tefty, you and Briar will remember this, it was a mad rush to try to get as much information as possible. Because there were so many new things that just dropped, and like we beat the story, and then suddenly there's something about exotic swords and stuff like that. So Holtzman, Patrick Casey, and I, we were basically tasked with getting the exotic swords, and we happened to be on a similar step. So we ran out with Nim, our buddy Black Fox. We ran out with him to do the strike that was required to get the sword, and it was just this wild, goofy time of 3 guys who were way under-leveled, getting slapped around by the Darkblade and trying to sync things up. Because remember, you had to do the Darkblade strike, and like you had to kill the right thing to get the right element sword or whatever.
Yep.
And we were trying to sync things up with that, and we messed up. I wound up getting my sword first. Neither John nor Pat got theirs. So I ditched them, run to the tower real quick to grab the sword from Shax so I can get a light boost and come back in. And it was like a good 3 or 4 minutes of angry silence from the 2 of them as I went out to do that strike before I got back in. It was a fun time. It was cool.
That's great.
Pretty great.
Yeah, John's a cool guy.
All right, I got mine. It was during the stream of when we did King's Fall, and we were just getting our ass kicked. And it's been like 12 hours so far. And I gave a speech to get us ramped up to complete, and we did it. We beat orcs.
Yep. Like that run.
I remember
that run.
Speech.
Yep.
Motivational speaker.
That run, we beat orcs for the first time.
It was the Braveheart equivalent for Destiny. I remember that. It was beautiful.
Inspired. That was It was over 12 hours, I believe. At one point, one of our raid team members fell asleep.
Oh my god!
Trey,
Was it Red Queen?
I remember that. Oh man,
that was epic.
Briar, what about you?
King's Fall is definitely a big one because it was like the first time that the Planet Destiny podcast crew kind of came together and did a raid, and it was super enjoyable. We did it. We did it in day 1. We beat it. It was epic. 12-hour stunt. Like we actually left the raid, started the raid over again with new characters to try and gear up more.
Yeah,
and then
that's
came
right.
back with the original characters. It's not a specific moment, but it's that 12-hour block of time. I feel like the podcast crew bonded really kind of that.
Yeah.
That was like the trial by fire that, kind of
solidified you guys as a group.
Yeah, I really do.
That's pretty great.
And Pope wasn't there.
Icing on top.
Oh, man.
There it is. It was coming.
Oh.
I think for me, because when I first started with Planet Destiny, I started off on the Twitch side of things. So I was just streaming for them. And I remember it was the week. No, it was not even the week. It was the day before Age of Triumph hit. I was taking people through Crota's End, just for fun, just to kind of like warm up on it again, because it had been forever since we had done it. And by the time we finished it, three of the people that I had pulled in from chat, we ran it flawlessly. So they all got their flawless trophy, their flawless raid gear, and then all 3 of them, that was their last trophy that they needed for their platinum. So hearing all 3 of them like freak out when they got their platinum was pretty great. And another really, well, this happened more than once, is seeing TBL kill himself with a sleeper on an orc while in vaulting. So that's also
don't worry, it's been nerfed, so it probably won't kill me.
I'm safe now. I'm safe. I don't have to worry anymore, chat.
What is this?
I got you baited.
What about you, Aura?
I mean, I came on board as a co-host for the podcast somewhere in the vicinity like 40 episodes ago, so I'm just happy to be here. Really, I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm just happy to be part of this. I'm a pretty fiery guy. I'm a pretty passionate guy, and you guys put up with a lot of nonsense for me. And I, like I said, I'm just happy to be a part of this whole thing. I don't have. I guess watching them invade with a World Line Zero would have to be like my favorite PD memory. Like that happened like last weekend. So thanks for getting me dredging them. So like that's really that's all I got.
World Line Zero.
Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
With the guy who used to run Planet Destiny, name was Ryan, and he calls me up one day. He's like, "I want you to do a loot unboxing video, but I want so he just wanted me to commentate over Holtzman opening loot boxes." I remember this. So I spent the next 15 minutes ruthlessly making fun of Holtzman.
Please, tell me that's still up on the channel.
That video never got released, surprisingly enough. Ruthlessly. I should have kept that video.
Oh my god!
From the archives.
Oh man,
amazing.
That's great.
Shortly after I joined PD, Nim and Moon and I were in like a multi situation, and we played Vault of Glass, and I had the relic, and I was trying to slam a Minotaur, and just completely Superman'd off the map.
I have that clip still.
Just yelled at me the entire. It was great. It was a good time. It was a good time.
All you heard from the outside is just Dan's like, "Oh no! Oh no!" As like the screen started getting darker. Oh no!
Oh man,
I still have that clip, by the way, on my PlayStation. It's pretty great.
It's so good.
I have this memory of Vault of Glass in an LFG group, and this guy just absolutely nutting up because another person in the LFG group kept on calling it Venus Penis when it was not Venus. Like Venus Penis, and this other person was like, "That's it." You never take this serious. I'm done with this. I'm done. And that person just stormed out and left the group. And to this day, I remember that. I just think it's hilarious getting like that upset over somebody saying Venus Penis.
I think we got our new call outs, gentlemen.
Oh boy. For every activity. Red Queen asks, so this is for Tefty. Tefty, can you please say dimples for me?
Oh, dimples. Dimples. Seconds dimples.
Jebby13 asks, do you think the new raid, if it's on Leviathan, is on Leviathan, and what if the Leviathan guns became exotic? Kind of like what happened with D1 raids.
Age of Triumph.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
They would need something special to make them exotic. I mean, because Midnight Coup is good, but not exotic good.
Yeah. The pulse rifle was
Midnight
fun.
Coup. Give it full-time radar. Give it the range of a scout rifle. Might as well just put a sniper scope on it. Make it one hit to the body. Trying to think what else you could do.
So you're that guy from the dev team at Bungie who's like, this is the weapon, and they just have to design things around you. You're that guy.
Midnight Coup
this melts the entire planet here.
That's my most used gun. I think I have like over 3,000 kills in the Crucible with it.
Oh wow!
I masterworked it for Crucible, and I think it's over.
Still good. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think rather than exotics from the new raid, what I would love to see, one thing I'll give Bungie praise for with Gambit Prime is the armor set. I love that the armor set has abilities that are tied to the game mode.
Yes.
I think that's great.
Cool.
That they need to do that with absolutely everything. There needs to be stuff like that. That's kind of like what we used to have with armor in the raids in Destiny 1. and they absolutely need to lean back into that. So I want to see an armor set that has abilities akin to the Gambit Prime set, but for the raid.
Yeah. And not mods, because the mods are kind of annoying and get like, you got to have fallen armaments or some crap like that. So you get actual heavy to drop. I feel like that's super annoying. I want it to be armor specific.
Yeah.
For that activity.
That'd be awesome.
Atlas New York City asks, for those who don't like Gambit nor Gambit Prime, what about it turns you off? And if those things were changed, would you play it?
For me, it takes too long, and I feel like the outcome is kind of random with evenly matched teams. I'm sure that's not true at the highest level, but I'm certainly not at the highest level. I feel like oftentimes the outcome is nearly random.
Yeah, it for me, it's like it's a PvP with a PvE type of thing going on with this comp feel, and there's a lot of RNG attached. Like, well, I just didn't have heavy that round. It's like, well, we're also playing a competitive mode, and having those things be just pure RNG is really annoying. And it does. It takes a long time. Like that's what really pissed me off about Gambit originally. But like, it would just inevitably go to 3 rounds because you win the first round, and then the second round, you just having horrible ad spawns, and there's no heavy for your whole team. You're like, what the hell is going on? And then suddenly they just burn the Primeval, and it'd be 3 rounds, and it was just like, this is too long, just way too long. Gambit Prime is better, but I still feel like there's a lot of RNG involved with it.
On what aspect?
The heavy, for one.
The heavy,
I mean, to some degree, special, truthfully.
Special even too. Special. The PvP side of it is like, it's interesting, but it feels like it's in addition to doing this PvE activity, which I think is more annoying for me. Like, I'd rather just play PvP. If somebody's going to constantly invade and kill me, then I'd rather be in a PvP situation.
That's all I really want to do when I play Gambit is invade over and over again. Like, that's the most fun part about it.
Yeah. That's definitely a thing, though. The ammo economy in Gambit is probably one of the most frustrating things for me, because you're absolutely right. There are just rounds where you just don't get any heavy. And sometimes
that's frustrating. Right?
Super frustrating, because it might be raining heavy, or something that's kind of frustrating. If you're lucky enough to have a Taken armament mod, you can kind of force heavy by killing Taken, and not everybody has that. And me, I primarily use Lord of Wolves. That's my go-to exotic in Gambit. And there are some times where I just don't get any green drops. There's not a special to be seen in Gambit Prime, and it's like, I don't want to run around with a primary and nothing else against an invader.
Yeah, I was actually running that today as a sentry, because I finally completed my sentry triumph in Prime, and man, that Lord of Wolves is just gnarly.
It's nasty.
It's so gross.
It's
not for long.
Right, not for long.
This guy.
For me, it's like it's rinse and repeat. It's just the same thing over and over and over again with no variation. Like, well, Ari, I just play PvP. What do you mean? It's the same thing. Well, at least I can make fun of a clan name, a guy's name. I can, the engagements are going to be a little bit different game by game. With Gambit, I just feel like I'm doing literally the same thing. Go over here, kill a bunch of stuff. Go over there, kill a bunch of stuff. Go over there, kill a bunch of stuff. And for me, that is what. Anything that I can predict over and over and over again as to what's going to happen immediately loses my interest. It kind of goes that way with raids after a while too. After I've done a raid 11 times, I'm like, all right, I know exactly how all of it's going to go. We're going to go over here and do this, do that. So for me personally, that's why Gambit really didn't speak to me as a player.
It's like
Queensbreaker Bow and Sleeper really hurt Gambit too. Like they really hurt Gambit.
LMGs are that now.
So relevant.
Hammerhead and Thunderlord are what's pretty much reigning.
Like
Gambit now.
Weapons.
I mean, you can outclass a sniper rifle with a Thunderlord or a Hammerhead. Just no issue. I mean, I tend to invade, and most of the times when I invade, I'm invading with probably like off the wall loadouts, just because Hammerhead and Thunderlord are so boring to use. Honestly, my favorite thing to invade lately has been Jade Rabbit, and that's been super consistent and it's super fun. It's so good in Gambit.
I wonder if Destiny could kind of experiment with the idea, maybe like in that Crucible Labs thing. experiment with the idea of fixed loadouts,
which never came back, by the way.
Yeah. You know, like one of Destiny's strengths is certainly like their variety of weaponry, but it's also one of the weaknesses, right? It's like there's just something that kind of spoils the fun, right? Like whether it be like a heat-seeking spider mine or you know, like there's just every once in a while there's just something that's kind of spoiling the fun in the Crucible or in Gambit. So if you could have a mode where everybody, you know, has selected loadouts that you could pick from, like Call of Duty style, that might be interesting for Destiny.
That'd be as a separate game mode for sure. Because I mean, I think I feel like I don't know. I mean, they do that with raids, and it kind of goes against their whole philosophy of like, you know, use the sandbox to your will. But
I'm not talking about locked loadouts. I'm more talking about pre-selected loadouts where here's a hand cannon, sniper, rocket launcher, and you can pick that, or you can pick a SMG and a, you know, the loadout itself is locked in place, and you only have like 3 or 4 to pick from.
Interesting.
Call of Duty style. Remember?
Yeah, default, like their custom.
Default loadout.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm just from the top of my head, but
level playing field except for skill.
Because sometimes the most fun you ever have in a game mode is before the meta is uncovered.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
it the meta just starts becoming like a stalemate of the same thing.
The little things that annoy you.
Yeah.
Getting killed by a rental over and over.
Listen.
It is over and
I feel like that was directed at me personally.
He's gone.
The personal attack. That's great.
Kelly Martini asks, what would Briar and Teft think of Aura's idea for grindable weapon perks to build your own perfect weapon/armor set? Maybe explain that, Aura?
Yeah. So to provide a background, when they first talked about mods way back, it made me feel like what we were going to get was a weapon or an armor frame, and that we would be given areas to go and to get whatever perks we wanted to put on our weapon to play the way that we wanted, whether it was go and do lost sectors, whether it was go and do this raid or whatever. If I wanted outlaw, I had to go do this to turn my hand cannon to have outlaw and whatever else in there. That was when Bungie first talked about it. That's what I thought we were going to get, not a +5 power on a kinetic weapon for an entire year.
Yeah. I'm all about horizontal progression with loot. I think it's fantastic. Like I actually miss in D1 where you had to put some effort into a gun to fully see it realized and its true power. Like I thought that stuff was really cool. I know a lot of people don't want to have to unlock things for you to feel the power of a gun. I also think it wouldn't work out if you could have direct paths to the perks that you want either. So because you would have the same situation where you're like, okay, I'm now going to go do the outlaw rampage for this gun every single time. So there still has to be some sort of RNG factored in with that, where it's like reforging some sort of system where you have to break down 3 of the same weapon or some crap like that to make it have the potential roll happen. But I'm all about that, and I feel the same way. When I saw it was +5 type of thing for that stuff for a whole year, I was like, what? This has no imagination, and I'm sad. Yeah, exactly. So I'd love to see weapons drop as like you said, a frame or like the base version of a weapon, which I think would be all the weapons in Destiny right now, and then progressions that get unlocked to be able to tailor a gun further, that somebody would be like, wow, that's really cool that you got that, and then you took the time to go through those efforts and unlock these type of perks for it. But I also think it shouldn't just be this one perk. Like it needs to be something that has like a tree that you can follow down, so there's some individuality to it.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't really have much to add to that. I mean, if Tefty's right, if we could modify our guns by doing a specific tactic, all our guns would be Rampage Outlaw, right?
Well, is that a Rampage Outlaw fault, or is that on the Bungie devs to create perks that aren't whatever it is when you're crouched, you get better stability?
It's for sure on the Bungie devs to get better mods, but if we had a path to do it, all our guns right now would be Rampage Outlaw.
100% agree.
No doubt about it.
It's the same issue that we had in Destiny 1 with Palindrome, Eos Luna, and Luck in the Chamber.
Yep.
There's still a chase though, and the chase is fun in my opinion. But yes, if you if you allow the meta to be chosen, or if you allow the perks to be chosen, then the meta will decide what that's going to be. Yeah, almost like 100% of the time.
What I think it'd be a really interesting item is if you could Call of Duty style, like select attachments to weapons, and you could visually see that in the game. So if I was going to get long barrel, like my gun actually changes, so I can see that. So it doesn't only customize the performance of the gun, but it also customizes the look of the gun.
Yeah.
So my Midnight Q looks different from Tefty's Midnight Q.
Right.
Even if, maybe I choose, eventually though, it's going to come down to we have this exact same Midnight Q because Rampage Outlaw is the best Midnight Q.
Because you find the meta. But which game is actually going to be doing that? That's coming out in September.
Is Anthem getting an update?
Borderlands 3 literally has the inspection.
Double burn, and I appreciate it.
Borderlands literally has the inspection. You go in, you can see it, each part and what it's contributing to the stats of the gun, and it's visually shown because of the weapon part.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think the last two questions for the night also regard perks. Trini asks, question, what would be your chosen perks for armor that would be able to be used in both PvP and PvE?
For me, it's just going to be reload speed.
It's always coming down to speed for me.
Yeah. Reload speed and armor, weapon ammo reserves, because one of the things that's going to happen with the Whisper getting the change isn't going to be that it's not going to be good for DPS. It's going to be that power ammo drops so damn infrequently, whether or not you have ammo finder on or not. So I would want to have not only ammo finder perks, but ones that actually function. Yeah. Not give me 20 bricks right away. Yeah. And then I don't get any bricks for the rest of the entire raid, which is kind of what it's either feast or famine with those finder perks. So for me, that would be it. But it would be hellbent on the perks actually performing their duty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge issue right now. The value of Whisper is that heavy doesn't drop, and they took away synths.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so crazy. I'm like, the reason why we love Whisper is because it's a guaranteed place to know that you're gonna have some heavy so long as you don't miss your shot because of a shank shooting you. And it's like, no, there's no synths. Why put synths in the game and then that crutch is gonna go away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or fix the ammo economy. Like I said, fix the perks.
Do you guys think eventually they'll bring up Darcy and Whisper up to the special slot?
Probably not Darcy.
Yeah. With
I've never fired a bullet of Darcy to even know what it does.
Then you haven't met my ex-wife. She's wonderful. She fires fast. It's going to be good to see her again.
I don't know what you're saying to me, Dan. I'm panicking.
It's going to be good to see her again.
Oh, dear Lord.
So,
yeah, I mean,
Darcy's a fun gun.
It's a very fun gun, very powerful.
Yeah.
It'll be what everybody's using once June 4th rolls around.
Acreus. If I was going to put my eggs in a basket, I would say Acreus is probably going to be up there.
Yeah.
And 1,000 Voices, because that doesn't apparently gotten touched this time.
No.
Acreus is great.
There's always next week.
Yeah. Just wait, all right. Just wait until the next 12. Oh, we forgot this one.
It's still going to be tough to get Outbreak perfected out of people's hands because it's so new and it's so powerful.
It's good.
And it's so really good. It's really good. So
it's about to get even better, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's upcoming Tuesday.
On Tuesday, that's it.
Can't wait.
Last question of the evening coming from second to last member of the stream team.
Dimples
himself. What are some specific armor perks or weapon perks that you would like to see see added to the game, even new exotic perks?
I mean, it really depends on what.
Oh, boy.
This is a tough
These
one.
are the questions that I always skip when we do Twitter questions on our show because it takes like a half an hour to actually think through this.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's so hard.
Here's an example of something like that. Look at Vault of Glass or King's Fall or Wrath of the Machine armor, and look at them. Look at the kind of perks that kind of gear had that was effective in the raid that either gave you additional armor when carrying the orb, or it gave you additional damage to Vex specifically in the Vault of Glass, or additional damage to oracles. I mean, the same thing. You can apply it to the stuff here. Just tie it to with whatever activity. Like the gear set for Prime is a perfect example of that we have now. You just tie in right sets like that, and fucking will be good.
Assless chaps. I'd like to see assless
chaps. Yes,
it's a
perk called Skids.
I think we need to up the rating in order for them to be assless.
If I get 3 kills in a row in the Crucible, assless chaps for all my teabagging needs.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I want a hand cannon, and one of the perks is when you get 3 kills in a row with the hand cannon, you get truck nuts that hang off the front of it.
Absolutely. Yes. These are the changes I can sign on to.
And then Eververse can sell an ornament to change your truck nuts into something more meatier, girthier.
Bull nuts.
Something called Full Clinch. A perk called Full Clinch, where if you are about to get stomped by an enemy, it like holds you to the ground for like a second longer, or like half a second.
You gotta crouch.
Yeah, you gotta crouch, full clinch. So it doesn't jettison you away.
Reduces the effect.
It reduces, yeah.
Anything
on out of there. I like it.
I want gauntlets with wolfpack rounds, where if I slap you, then you basically get yellow-horned.
I like that.
Give me that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. What if that was a weapon? So your weapon was a melee weapon. Well, that's basically it.
See, I want that. So if my Whisper runs out of ammo, I want to be able to take it like a bat and start whacking enemies, you know?
Oh my god. Yes.
Becomes the sword.
GoldenEye 64.
Yeah.
So good.
There you go. That's where the buffs for the Whisper are. It becomes an enhanced melee weapon when you run out of ammo. There you go. I dig it.
I remember being disappointed about that in Destiny 1, is seeing like a weapon with a cool ass knife sticking off the front of it. And then my Guardian reaches out and punches somebody. I was like,
Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo's got a big like sword on the front of it.
It's experimental.
Yeah, its whole ability is like boosting your melee energy, and it's like, how did they miss the bayonet stab? I don't get it.
Especially if you're a Titan.
I hate to say it again.
Somebody else did it. Somebody else did it. God knows how many years ago somebody else did it. They were kind of ahead of the game.
We're gonna need a meme. The Simpsons did it meme, but Borderlands did it.
Right?
As long as it includes Randy Pitchford with magic cards, then I'm on board.
Please get him out of here. Please, no.
I kind of feel like Randy needs to just take a step back off the internet for a bit.
Yeah. Does he also have a USB on him that he's going to leave it in medieval times?
No. The greatest threat to Borderlands is actually Randy Pitchford.
Yeah. For real.
They need to hire some kind of PR, like
a handler,
just a babysitter.
Here's the thing.
CEO would have to hire.
This is Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Would he allow it though? That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's another.
The CEO
podcast.
would hire the PR department to make that happen, but he's the CEO.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's just somebody off screen to every time Randy Pitchford's about to say something, run in from off screen and tackle him.
Just wait. Allegedly, and then they run off.
Is that how the encounter stops?
Yeah.
Oh, that man is such a treasure. I don't think there could be any more perfect way to end episode 200 than by talking about Randy Pitchford and the wonderful gifts he's given to the gaming industry and the horrible things he's taken from it. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. I do believe that is it for episode 200 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We made it all the way 200 episodes in, and we brought back some familiar faces. Briar, Tefty, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I was really stoked when you guys agreed to be on the show. That was something that I was kind of planning for a bit. I'm like, all right, it needs to happen. I want them to be there. So thank you guys for coming on board.
Cool.
It really means a lot.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute
thanks
ton
for
of
having
fun.
us.
Absolutely.
It's been great going down memory lane.
Yeah.
Wow,
it's so good.
5 years of stuff, man. 5 years of stuff and 5 years of content between everybody here that is become a pretty big part of everyone here's life. And oh boy, it feels good to be back. Yeah. I miss your shard it or keep it series because now I just got a full vault. I just got a full vault and I don't know what to shard because Briar's not there to tell me. Yeah, he's not there to tell me what I need to get rid of. I have a problem. I need help.
Hey,
I have
a support group, man.
I've got 50 edge transits.
Yeah. One of them might become meta one day. I can't get rid of it. It's just what someday one might become meta.
Oh boy.
But right on, before we get out of here, of course, we're going to let you guys let everyone know. Of course, you guys are big internet stars. Everyone knows where you are, but we'll give you an opportunity to shill your stuff. Let everybody know where they can find you across the week and what it is that you do. So, take it away, Tefty.
You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter if you want to tell me things on the internet. Or you can catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, where I usually stream in the evening time, West Coast Pacific time. And I'm also on the DCP podcast as well. It's one of the co-hosts.
Right.
Yeah.
We're actually starting up SideQuest, which is a new kind of
I'm on
all
two
gaming
podcasts. That's right.
podcast. Instead of just being Destiny focused, we're gonna be we're doing that live on Twitch on Monday afternoons. I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time, and I think we figured out it's 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Check your local listings.
I like how confident TVL was. Like he's like, yeah,
absolutely, sure thing.
Yeah.
+5
sounds right.
That'll be up on the DCP YouTube as well. We really had fun with that. We got Eric's on the show, which is really awesome. Like,
cool
we're really
guy.
excited to be doing a podcast with Eric's. Miss 5000 Watts, Tefty, I. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Crystal Meth, and
driving Camaros.
Driving Camaros.
Living the Miami. Right on. Important to note, SideQuest, different show from SideQuest Sunday, hosted by Dan Finity.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh no, you're fine.
My bad.
There's enough of a difference there.
It's fine.
Copyright laws. Enough of a difference.
Mine's a hashtag. It's all one word. It's fine. You guys are good. Okay. You guys are good.
Right on. Absolutely fantastic to have you guys here tonight. We haven't gotten to chat in quite a while. I usually spend my evenings haunting Tefty's chats. He never knows I'm there. But I know. I know. But thank you guys again so much for joining us. I think this was probably the best possible outcome we could have had to really make episode 200 of the PD podcast something special. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
It's a fun episode.
Good stuff. Fun running down memory lane. But all right, time for the rest of the people you don't care about. What's our stuff? Starting with Nim, who looks sad now that I said that.
I was hoping you were coming from me first.
Nah, it's all you, buddy.
Shit. Twitter.com/NemPlays, where I'm probably the most active on, and you can see some of my Gambit shenanigans, along with screenshots of stuff that I like. And twitch.tv/NemPlays. And heads up, this upcoming week, I'm going to be on DCP with these beautiful people that are in here. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Cross promotion.
Synergy.
And when is that, Nim?
That is on the 23rd.
What time?
I can't remember the time.
Oh my gosh, I give you an opportunity and you flub.
6 p.m.
There you go. Thank you.
Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Tune in. DCP, great show. Aura, what about you, man?
You can catch me and my Aaron Till. My 18,000 kills with my Aaron Till, Tefty.
Well, I actually had no idea they had that many. I didn't realize.
That's all he does.
It's his primary Teft.
It's my primary weapon. Twitter.com/evilr3vil_AURA for all your Pitbull doggo needs and some fusion rifle plays here and there. Thanks.
This guy just got movie of the week a week or two ago with a fusion rifle montage. It's pretty darn good.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
That's great,
Thank
man.
you. It'll make you think twice about what you can do with the fusion rifle.
Heck
The
yeah.
thing, ridiculous range. Good plays. Daniel-san.
All right. Hi, guys. My name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danfinity, but the I's are L's, so Dan Flannelty. I'm sorry about that. You can find me on twitch.tv/Danfinity, where I'm just about every day for a little while, at least. You can also catch SideQuest Sunday every Sunday, airing as a podcast at 12:30 a.m. Eastern. where you can download it from anywhere, and you can also pick it up. You can watch it on my channel at 5 p.m. every Sunday. This week we had That Dad Cab. We talked about MagFest, which is an awesome festival out on the East Coast, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Great show. I enjoy SideQuest Sunday.
It is
very fun to listen to. All right, and of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. This week, it's going to be the usual stuff. We do streams from Monday to Thursday. Can't do them on Fridays because, Zer, you guys want your Zer video, and every time I don't do one, you get mad. So, lol.
Zer video.
People want their Zer videos. Like, I sit back and I think, I don't need to cover that anymore. It's only been, 4 or 5 years of this. You miss a Zer video, they hop on you. Like, hey, how am I supposed to know what to buy from Zer in year
Them perks,
2?
man.
So you get your Zer video. There you go. But all the usual stuff, you guys know where to find me. All right. That is going to be it for episode 200 of the Planet Destiny podcast. This one's been an absolute ton of fun. Thank you, Guardians, so much for watching. And of course, we'll catch you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.